All right. Let me know when you're ready, Ross.
I am ready when you are.
And
Just looking on Twitch. And there it is.
all righty, we'll give it a second, and then I'll do the countdown.
Discovery and the Mandalorian are over. What are we going to talk about next? Find out tonight on the Real SuperGeeks. We almost didn't do the enemy opener.
And it is Friday, January 15th, 2021, or as I like to think of it, 2020 Part 2. Welcome to the Real SuperGeeks, and we're going to jump right into, we've got actually 19 topics tonight, and we will be...
topics? Jesus
Christ. We may not get to all of them, but we're going to do our best. But let's start off first with introducing myself and my fellow hosts. I'm Carlos Pedraza from X Monitor. Also with us is our stalwart producer, Justin Burton. Justin, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. Been okay week so far. Yeah.
So far, except for civil unrest and doom and gloom.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once, besides that, but locally it's okay.
All right, and next is the man who is in line to get his COVID-19 shot. That is Jason Kovalik, aka Ensign Beard Fosse. How you doing, Jason?
Good. It's been a interesting couple of weeks, and
hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been. Especially if you're a Trump supporter.
And also, and also, I have to know where she is this week. Sun Seal, where are you?
You remembered.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Amazingly, I found myself on this ship, being rescued by this ship. It seems to be called the Starship Titanic.
It looks very opulent.
It is rather opulent. I don't know. Everybody seems to be thinking there's going to be some kind of doom, so...
I don't know.
It looks like Avenue 5.
It looks...
That's what I was thinking, was Avenue 5.
It does kind of look like Avenue 5. I'm impressed all of us have seen Avenue 5.
What's that? I've seen it.
I didn't realize so many of us had seen it.
That is, but okay.
It's a show on HBO. It came out about a year ago. It hasn't been quite a year. And it's basically about this space Titanic ship that everything goes wrong, and it's a comedy though, and it's kind of interesting.
Okay.
The guy who is the captain. Yeah, Hugh Laurie.
So, for those of you who are not in the know, I have jumped from one Douglas Adams thing to another.
Oh, you're Adams jumping.
As basically I was in the escape pod in the Heart of Gold, and now I'm on Starship Titanic, which was a Douglas Adams game in 1998.
Oh wow, I did not know that. All right, well, let's go to our next pair of hosts. Our favorite plushie and his pet human, Travis and Lane.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing this week?
It's been an anxious week. Not gonna lie, it's been full of ups and downs, and hoping that this next week is a bit smoother. It just the anxiety just kind of came out of nowhere for a lot of the time, and
it does that in a week like this.
It does that, and
but you've got your fidget spinner and Lane,
yes,
on either side of you. So I think you are well girded for moving into the future. And you've got your tea. All right, and next You've already heard his mellifluous tones, but we like to call him the Eyebrows of Doom. Ross Bullock, how are you doing this week?
Doing good overall. You'd think I'd learn my lesson and not get involved in arguments on Facebook, but one bad interaction kind of negatively colored my week. I'm all right now, but yeah, don't call a veteran's patriotism into question. Some stranger decided to do that. I blasted her with my service record, wearing a bit of a.
Oh no, she didn't. Oh God.
And then I just quit social media for about a day and a half. So
I tried doing that, but then
Understandable.
I said to it, I can't quit you. Okay, I think we got everybody. Yes, and yes. All right, let's jump into the week's topics. Now, we have folks at home. Welcome to our official Star Trek drought. We don't know how long it's going to last, unless, God, I hope they have some short treks this year, but who knows?
We can only hope.
We can only hope they're going to surprise us out of nowhere and with several weeks of short treks, because, oh my God, do we have any idea how long it's going to be before we see any new Star Trek?
Sometime late
I
this
have
year.
not seen a single date.
They're recording.
And I am
Lower
like
Decks.
monitoring the news for any bit, any sign, any sliver of like Star Trek Lower Decks. Like, come on, I've been a good Boimler this year.
Your
Even though it's like
love
only
for
like 15
Bradward
days.
Boimler is well known, Travis.
I'm willing. If I were to a wagering man, I would say we might see Lower Decks in August, like we did last year, and then followed by Discovery.
So that's like 8 months of.
Because the way they pointed, they're already in the process of recording Lower Decks when season 2 was announced. So, and
Yeah,
they're
but that
already
means-
recording Prodigy too. So,
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We might.
So
be
we
seeing
should
that
be seeing
sooner.
3. I would think.
It takes a while to do the. Well, they have the scripts done, so that's important.
Well, I mean, animation. I mean, all they have to do is animate.
All they have to do. You've obviously never made an animated
Well,
film.
I've seen
that's not to say they're not already animating. The cool thing is, if you think about it, though, season 4 of Discovery is in production.
Yep.
Season 1 of Strange New Worlds is about to go into production. Season 2 of Picard is about to go into production.
Mhm.
We know that Prodigy, and we know that Lower Decks is in production. So for all we know, we might get to it may be a drought until the summer, and then we could get hit back.
It won't be in the summer. Here's my prediction. We are going to see at most 2 series in 2021. And they're probably, one of them will be one of the animated series. Actually, they both may be animated series, Prodigy and Lower Decks, because they're probably the furthest along.
I might actually be the contrarian here and say we might not see anything until the beginning of 2022 because of COVID.
Well, here's a question then.
Justin, if you make me watch B movies until 2022, I'm going to hunt you down.
Do we know when the rollout of
why is Justin making anybody do anything, Travis?
Don't question my logic.
Don't question his logic.
Do we know when the rollout of Paramount Plus is going to be?
March.
Yeah, I think this summer, spring,
Because
summer.
if we are going to find out anything or if something is going to be announced, it's probably going to be with the rollout of the rebranding.
That's entirely possible. And my guess
I
is
would hope so.
My guess is they may have a projected date for Discovery, given that they are in production for that still, and they, now that they've done the post-production for an entire season from home, they know how long those things take, so they'll be able to hopefully give us a projected date for season 4. But I would doubt it's going to be before 2022.
No, I'm saying October. I'm
You think
optimistic.
October of this? Oh man, no, they're not even done with this.
And
movie yet.
you're
They're not done
too
shooting it.
optimistic. You're way too optimistic.
Well, so before they were releasing the show as they were still wrapping up the season as the show started airing. So
They were wrapping up post-production stuff. Yeah.
Right. So we're gonna go.
But all the principal photography was done.
Right. All the the principal photography on Discovery is supposedly going till June. Rumor is that season 4 and 5. They're shooting season 4 and 5 back to back.
Ooh, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I mean, because previously I think they've gone from like October to March, so there's definitely a much longer shooting schedule, and that they intended to do that back to back. I'll find an article and I'll shoot it over to you.
Yeah, I do. I'd like to see it because I haven't really heard anything.
So if that's the case, then they're going to be able to start season 4 probably, around the same time they started last year, post production on season 4, and then just continue to shoot into season 5, and then we have lower. So I think I'm pretty optimistic that we could see an animated series. We could see Discovery released this year, and then I think we're just going to be in content through a good chunk of next year.
I think next year looks great for content.
Oh yeah.
I mean, assuming the vaccine holds.
If anyone's going to be sitting down to watch anything, once things over, it's the Roaring '20s all over again.
It could be the Roaring '20s all over again. There's a lot to indicate that might happen. There's going to be a lot of pent up activity ready to let loose once we start unlocking.
Not to mention a mini baby boom.
Yeah, well, we could use one actually because the U.S. is very close to depopulation.
We're not. We're nowhere close to depopulation.
The only reason we're not, dude, is because of immigration.
Lifeblood of this country.
Japan is actually closer to depopulation than we are.
Yes, Japan.
Well, that's because their work culture sucks.
Well, and China.
Why are we talking about politics? Let's talk about politics.
Population.
This is demographics, not politics.
Let's talk about geek stuff.
All right, we'll talk about geek stuff. All right,
this is geek stuff.
Oh, that's true. Demographics is about
It's numbers. Numbers.
Number geeks, man. There are a lot of number geeks out there.
He's giving you his angry tea sipping look.
The only thing geekier than demographics is taxes.
That's evil. That's evil.
I don't want to talk about taxes. I looked at my bill from last year.
It's because none of you are tax geeks.
I have software for that.
Yes, so do I. It's called TurboTax.
Tax man joke, but I don't.
I need some Vaseline with mine.
Oh.
Mm.
I don't know if I want to hear that.
It's gotta be one of those shows, people.
Let us move into our season 3 wrap up for Star Trek Discovery,
which also apparently needs lube.
What?
Which also apparently needs lube.
Star Trek?
Discovery, because a lot of fans are salty over the way it was wrapped up.
Well, I don't know if a lot of fans felt that way. There are always people who complain, but that's what we're going to talk about. So there are people who, and let's see, where was this from? This was from Polygon.com. Not the only place where I read about this, but who were looking back at season 3. And for as many people who look on season 3, and Jason, I know you're one of them, who sees this past season of Discovery as one of the best seasons of Star Trek, period. There are some people who feel that it also was a season full of missed opportunities around several things that distress them. The state of the Federation, how its commentary on resource scarcity, and how it portrayed coping with the trauma of leadership and the burdens of leadership with regards to Saru and Burnham, and actually even to that extent Tilly as well. And of course, Tilly's promotion to acting first officer was and remains a source of controversy for the season. And then, of course, the issue of gender identity and how that expressed itself through Gray and Adira. And even though it was hailed as one of the important sort of social pieces of social commentary ever in Star Trek, there's some people who felt like it fell short. So Let's start talking first about the state of the Federation and how its largely utopian principles were either subverted or, or just how it was shown in decline in this season of Star Trek. Did that work for you all? And what do you think that bodes for the future of the future?
The Federation was diminished because it collapsed under its own weight. That was the premise of the state of the Federation. It wasn't compromised. Starfleet was still sending out ships to aid what worlds they could, what members that they could still reach, but they weren't able to reach as far as they were before. And one thing that people keep getting confused about Star Trek and the Federation and Earth, as it was described in previous series, when they talked about the utopian paradise, they're not talking about the Federation, they're talking about Earth. They're talking about the capital of the Federation, which is in a post-scarcity state. People don't need money. Their needs are met. They don't have to worry about survival or their basic needs at all. So they're able to branch out and do anything they want, including joining Starfleet. So the utopian ideals of Star Trek are still there. Paradise is lost. But as Admiral Vance shows, up until the very end, although we were suspicious of him, he holds to his principles as tightly as he possibly can. He could have given in to Osira and overlooked the fact that she was going to be pulling the strings of whoever was representing the change to the Federation, but he didn't, because he knew accountability mattered. He knew that the ideals of the Federation needed to matter in order for that partnership to work. And I can't imagine how it could be any more clear to people.
All right. Other thoughts? I'm looking at you, Jason, because I know you always have thoughts.
No, I mean, I think there's a lot that can be said here. I think there's a lot of space. I get it. You think of Star Trek, you think of the 5-year mission, you think of the 10-year mission, but what people fail to accept is that the hokey Star Trek that embodies what they think of when they think of Star Trek, tends to be the hokier kind. The first couple seasons of TNG, the episodes of the original series where Kirk is pontificating to Cloud William about the virtues of the U.S. Constitution. When you get to really the more realistic or the more fan favorites, the ones that are more critically acclaimed, they aren't utopia, they aren't paradise. They're Nog losing his leg on a battlefield. They are Sisko basically deciding that his principles don't matter because the fate of the Federation is at stake, and so he's willing to accept that he hit of his hand in assassinating a Romulan senator. We see admirals or badmirals who are taking advantage of the situation on Earth to abscond with political power and things of that nature in Deep Space Nine. The one of the most acclaimed episodes of Voyager is an episode or two-parter called Year of Hell. This idea that paradise is instrumental, or utopia is instrumental to a Star Trek story, is 100% unmitigated bullshit. The idea is that we strive for paradise through our struggles, and that's exactly what this season of Discovery was.
So one of the criticisms. Oh, did you want to add something, Travis?
I was just gonna say, going right for the neck. As soon as he said as soon as it's bullshit, I was like, damn, Jason. I agree.
Well, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's hit that right on the head. That's better than I could.
I'm tired of people. I'm tired of people looking at Discovery through these rose-tinted glasses of Star Trek that they think Star Trek is, and it's never been. Listen, I'm not a gatekeeper. I think you pull from Star Trek what you want to pull from Star Trek. Everyone finds their own things. It's like Ross. You were in that shit posting argument where they don't understand where conservatives don't like Star Trek. God. Everybody sees something. It's 800 stories that have been told now right? Over 800 stories have been told now.
Mhm.
There's something in it for everybody, and hopefully, while you're enjoying the things that you like, you're willing to open your mind up to other things. What I don't like though is people. What I really don't like is when people apply to Discovery criticisms that they're unwilling to apply to other incarnations of Trek.
Exactly. 'Cause, the people have been complaining about things that have been going on Discovery. Well, you know what? They've done it even worse back in the other shows. Well, look, we had Space Abraham Lincoln, for crying out loud. We had Giant Hand grabbing a hold of the Enterprise. We had a giant face in space. The fucking candle ghost. The candle ghost.
How
really
many
had to go there?
times?
You had to go to the Candle Ghost.
How many
Yes.
times have we had space Nazis?
Exactly.
One time, done, created, instituted by a Federation scientist.
Yep.
I'm so over the space Nazis, especially
what?
after Enterprise.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That is the
It's-
absolute worst cliffhanger of the entire fucking franchise. I swear to God. I'm getting angry just thinking about it.
But
Calm
the
down,
season
Travis.
but the season 4 finale was the best episode of Enterprise.
Quiet,
Oh
Jason.
God.
You're in
We're
timeout.
not going down that path again.
You're in timeout.
So let me ask you. Well, let me offer one piece of observation too. I totally agree with your analysis there, Jason, about how people draw what they want to draw out of Star Trek, and a lot of times they make Star Trek fit their worldview rather than their worldview really being affected by Star Trek. And that's fine. I mean, I think that's perfectly fine. The issue I have is when people then turn around with that worldview and make the claim that this is Star Trek.
Mhm.
And if you don't hew to that, then you're not a true fan, or you don't understand Star Trek or whatever. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that.
And they try to think because you like the new shows that you're turning your nose on shows. I was like, no, that's not how this works. I mean, I've been called every name in the book just because I support the new shows. I just don't understand how someone can call themselves a Star Trek fan and treat others like shit, like
but
something they don't.
Here's what I will say about people who engage in gatekeeping. I find that a lot of the people who engage in gatekeeping tend to find a lot of their personal identity in whatever incarnation of Trek that they kind of came to terms with. And I think that any other incarnation of Trek is a threat to that part of their identity.
Oh yeah, it's definitely its own brand of identity politics for sure.
That's why you don't tie your identity to something that you don't have control over.
Yeah,
Only
but
everybody knew that.
The thing is, Ross, is that for Star Trek has never been the popular franchise, right? And in a lot of ways, it's always been subcultural or countercultural.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of people who feel subcultural or countercultural that enjoy Star Trek, and you see it like in the shitposting group, and you see it, and you've seen it like the lady who wore the badge to the Clinton impeachment, right, or the Clinton trials, right? Like there's this aspect of counterculturalism. So when Star Trek is popular, when it becomes bigger than and it starts to break into that mainstream ethos, I think they feel threatened that something that is personally theirs, they're losing grips on that.
So one of the specific
there is a fine line in gatekeeping, and it is easy to cross that line.
Mm-hmm.
The best example that I can give of this is that right now you have the rise of what's called V-Twitter, and it's a bunch of revenge of the woke types on Twitter who are trying to invade the VTuber space through Twitter with their everything has to be political. If you're not political, you are doing a disservice to this, that, or the other. And then having like every post that they make saying debuting soon, here's like all of my pay me money shit. And there is an amount of gatekeeping that is acceptable, and is to keep people like that from taking over your space,
Considering how crass and lewd most of the VTubers I'm familiar with are, I don't see that going very well.
Yeah, it's kind of that's a perplexing goal.
As we talked about, VShojo, all of them, one of them is a VCam girl. She got her start. She became popular on Chatterbaits, and you're going to try and invade that space with vindictive virtue signaling?
Yeah.
Are we talking about...
Like there is a reason that gatekeeping does exist, is to make sure that the people who are coming in aren't invading with ill intent, but it is easy to cross that line into being toxic with it.
Kind of like the shitposting discussion I got involved in this week. That was fun. Part 2 of my I should know fucking better.
Yeah, well, you do bring up
that one wasn't actually so bad. I actually had a decent discussion with a lot of people, but there was still a lot of conservatives bad, blah blah blah.
I've started many arguments with that phrase. I should have known better.
Anyway, please continue, Carlos.
Okay, so one of the specific criticisms about this year was that on the one hand, a good thing was the way Discovery explored the galaxy politics and sort of the colonialism of the Emerald Chain, and then the attempt to make peace, and specifically criticized Admiral Vance for being, I guess, too idealistic in refusing to take Osira up on her offer of.
We had that argument here on the show.
Wait. We just talked about how some people are saying that it's not idealistic enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's being too idealistic for rejecting Osira?
Well, I mean, it just goes to show you.
Argument.
It just goes to show you that, I mean, these criticisms come from both directions, from many directions.
Okay.
So in looking at, this past season, did you all have any particular things sort of thematically like this that you were disappointed with, or you felt they didn't explore far enough?
The burn.
So tell us a little bit more about that, Justin.
Well, I mean, it just felt too easy. I mean, they laid it up to be this big thing, and then, it was down to a person in a nebula. Which is very Star Trek, you don't get me wrong, but you almost expected it to be more somehow.
Like what?
I don't know. It just seemed like it felt incomplete.
See, I don't mean this to criticize you, Justin, because this is something that I hear a lot of people say when they're criticizing Star Trek, and they talk about Star Trek like it's this absolute known quantity. And we've all heard these arguments that people have made when they say, I can't tell you how many times I've read this, where they say, as science fiction, Discovery is great. It's just not Star Trek. And they never explain.
Oh no! I hear that argument too, and I don't understand that one.
And I have yet
it pisses me off every time.
I heard enough of that talking about the Kelvin films.
Well,
oh my god!
But I've yet to hear anyone really do a good job of explaining what Star Trek is.
And the fun part is, the stuff that they try to complain about is stuff that they did back in the other fucking shows. Every single time with one that
finish, man.
Well, I mean, but I don't bring that up just to keep throwing rocks at people like that. I'm genuinely curious if you all can articulate, or if you've seen someone else articulate well, what it is that Star Trek is that it's not doing, in Picard or in Discovery.
Every time I try to ask people that, I get the same argument. It's the same thing over and over again, and then they bring up something that has happened in the show, and I'm like, you realize they did the same thing in the original.
Right, but you're just telling me the same thing over and over again. I want to know, for people who are actually grappling with how to explain what it is Star Trek is, what is it? And how are these new shows betraying that?
Tell me why.
Well, I think
to Sorry.
Go ahead, Travis. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, go seek out Glenn C. Strathey. I'm sure he'll write an essay for you.
So here's the deal.
Why would you encourage anybody to go do that? No, I
Mm-hmm.
think
Why would I?
because Glenn doesn't articulate he doesn't have an articulation. Like
He'll write you an essay.
Yeah, it's full of sound and fury and signifying nothing. I mean,
yeah,
That's the beauty of it.
I think that when I mentioned earlier, there's 800 episodes of 800 Star Trek stories, and there's now we're at 7 different shows that all have their own unique kind of look and feel. And I think for a lot of people, whatever Star Trek they grew up on, whatever Star Trek they cut their teeth on, that look and feel is the most Trek to them. For me, it's the most it's the film series, right? So I was like 6 years old, and I wore out our VHS recording of the original of the motion picture that was on NBC Movie of the Week or whatever. I mean, it was so other I remember when TNG was airing, like I was like, it can't be Star Trek if it's not Kirk and Spock in them, and the idea that there would be a new Enterprise. Fortunately, 7-year-old Jason was mature enough, or 10-year-old Jason was mature enough to get past that, and I know that there are people that aren't, but I think that's a lot of it. It's just it's so intrinsically tied to our own identities that when it feels contrary to your identity, then it's not Star Trek, and they're not able to articulate that.
Yeah, I think you're right, son.
So here's the deal. Star Trek is whatever the hell you want it to be. From you wanting it to be the original series only, to TNG only, to all the people coming in now and seeing Discovery for the first time. And that means that when Star Trek is iterated upon and changed and made different for a new audience or a new era, that thing that you want it to be because you were there with it, like Jason said, it's different. And yeah, but that's the thing with Trek. It's whatever you want it to be. This goes back to that argument of if you don't like the new stuff, go back and watch the old shit. It's still around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like CBS took all of the old Star Trek, put it on a huge, giant bonfire and said never again.
Okay, let's go to another criticism.
I'm just sad None left.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she could come back. You never know. She could come back.
I think at some point we'll see Non again, not as a regular character, but
As far as criticisms go, I was most looking forward to seeing her more in the series and grow and develop as a character, and she was gone in 4 episodes.
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the, and I think we've talked about this aspect as well, is that one of the challenges from a storytelling perspective that that Discovery has is that it is a huge ensemble cast, and it continues to grow. I mean, we got 3 major new characters this season, and lost 1,
2,
2 if you count Ariam.
we lost Giorgio.
Oh, and Giorgio, so 3.
One of the most important.
Yeah. But well, I mean, she's going to her own show, so that's why.
I can't believe
Yes,
you
but she's
forgot
no longer in
Giorgio.
Discovery.
You forgot Giorgio. Come on, Carlos, you're slipping.
So now I went and forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, just the idea that balancing all these storytelling, all the storylines from all of these characters is always going to be a difficult thing, and I think people are always going to be disappointed because each of us is going to connect with a different subset of those characters, of that cast, and if they don't get the attention that we think other people we don't find important and as important in the cast get more attention, you come away with some disappointment in there.
Well, and I think that is one of the criticisms I see very commonly about Discovery is that we don't see the bridge crew enough. They don't get enough development. They decide it's all the Michael Burnham show. It's really not. Like, when you look at all the characters that are developed from Burnham, Tilly, Saru, Stamets, Culber.
He got a lot this season.
Yeah.
Oh, got a lot. Yeah.
She got a damn hero moment.
Yeah.
That might be one of my least favorite things I hear about Discovery. Oh, it's the Michael Burnham show. Star Trek Michael Burnham. I was like, God, stop it.
Well, because they're expect like, and the reality is, and I've said this, we're 42 episodes in. We know far more about Kayla Detmer than we ever knew about
Sulu.
Sulu or Geordie LaForge or Harry Kim. A season.
Hurrah.
So this idea that we're not getting enough of the other. I mean, Kayla Detmer's not even a main character. She's not even a secondary character. She's a recurring character.
We didn't get Uhura's first name until the Kelvin movies.
That's right. That's right. So much for
we didn't get Sulu's first name until the TOS movies.
Yeah.
I actually they didn't even originate from the movie writers. They got the first names from an old I think 1980s Star Trek novel. I can't remember the exact novel, but they took it from
Yeah, it was from a novel. Okay, let's talk a little bit now about how well Discovery handled the issues and burdens of leadership this episode. We saw that manifest itself very specifically with Saru, with Michael Burnham, and with Tilly. How would you grade its treatment of each of those characters and how well it was resolved by the end of the season? Who'd like to go first? Let's start with Ross.
I actually kind of missed the first half of your question.
The first half is how would you grade how those three characters, how well their own the theme of leadership and the burden of leadership, how well that was handled for each of those three characters, Tilly, Burnham, Saru, by the end of the season.
I really liked seeing Tilly with authority. It seemed to suit her very well. And if you're familiar with her background as expanded in the novels, her mother was a Federation representative on the Federation Council, and she groomed her daughter to be a representative as well. It didn't lead to a happy childhood, but that authority is still within her. And with more development and confidence, she'll really be able to come into her own. And to see hints of that throughout the season was really nice. Saru slipped into the role of captain quite naturally, but seeing him struggle with the moral questions that are required of a Starfleet captain when it comes to his crew was good to see as well. That's the kind of struggle we didn't see with Picard, Kirk, Sisko, or Janeway. So that was interesting to see that side of command explored. And Michael was quite a roller coaster. A lot of ups and downs. I honestly didn't expect to see her in the captain's chair at the end, considering how badly she messed up when she went to rescue Book. I honestly expected her to take a bit more time to be redeemed, even with the rescue at the end that did cap her redemption arc. But it's not like we haven't seen it in Star Trek before, so I'm able to overlook it, even if it does rub me the wrong way.
But if she didn't go on that mission, we wouldn't have solved the burn, and there wouldn't have been a Federation. There, I mean, realistically, all of the renaissance that is about to happen, is a result of her decisive action to disobey orders.
Right, and that's why I'm not upset about it. Like I said, it's a sequence of events. It's a resolution of a redemption arc. I get it. This
just continues to feed into the narrative that she does the right thing, but in the wrongest way possible.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's not like we haven't seen it in Trek before. Kirk did it all the damn time.
Except in the last two episodes, we see her do the right thing by ejecting Stamets.
Right. Despite the pain it caused
at
her.
the end of the day, and this is one of the things that someone called that on this. Then I'm like, they're like saying that like her doing that was a weakness. I'm like, no, this is exactly like there was a callback earlier in the season where the admiral's like, could you do this? Could you couldn't you couldn't eject Arium, right?
Mhm.
And specifically that instance was called out, and so this mirrored that, right? So
And I'm glad they called it out. By the way.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, because they knew this moment was coming. So when this moment came full circle, that you knew, like I was like this wasn't. You knew they weren't setting up Michael Burnham just to be Michael Burnham. They were setting up Michael Burnham to do the right thing by everyone else, and she did make the right decision. And then immediately, like it was that decision that allowed Vance to trust her enough to let her go, and that's what caused it. I mean, so again, like I think the arc this season, especially with leadership, I thought Saru was a horrible captain.
Yes, we know that.
I mean, I think it was good storytelling, right? I think why did you just freak out, Travis?
Because you bad mouthing my boy.
But he was green.
He was horrible.
On the subject of the making the right call, it's also something that we've seen in Trek before. When Deanna was going down the command track as well, she was going through that holodeck program to try and figure out figure out where she was failing, and the solution that she needed to do was to realize she had to order someone to go to their death, a friend, an ally, Geordi. That he was the only one who could repair the problem, but he wasn't going to live through it. That's the decision that Michael had to make, and it's something that is established in Trek.
So, Jason, I'm curious, how would you? We know what you think of his time as captain, but by the end of the season, where do you think where do you think Saru ends up? Like, what grade do you give the storytelling for what they put him through the course of the season?
I mean, I think the storytelling was fantastic, right? I mean, I really do. I mean, I think his arc was really good. I think that I think everybody went the season. I think Saru was a fan favorite, and I think that going into the season, seeing Saru, not. A lot of times I felt like he was playing checkers when he should have been playing chess, and and I think that leads to character growth, right? So yeah, we don't want Mary Sue's. I think we've talked about, I think there's enough criticism of this show, of Michael Burnham being married. We don't want Mary Sue's. We don't want people always doing the right decision at the right time. We want to see that growth. We want to see, So I thought that it was very interesting. Even though I criticized Saru leaving the Discovery to go with Sokal, we see that was the right decision at the end of the day, right? I mean, because he was the one who was able to connect with him, and he was the one able to prevent Burn 2.0, So, I mean, I think in a lot of ways, we see the storytelling is set up to where you can have complex feelings about it, and I think that's good.
Okay, other thoughts? Saru, Tilly, Burnham.
Well, I agree with Jason on Saru. He's a great character. Not the best of captains, but I think they're setting him up to be in a more ambassador role for next season. It's just a hunch I have, just by with the way they set things up. He might be an ambassador, Kevin Arnett, this next season. We'll see. He's even hinted that himself, and the actor has hinted that himself in I think the last All Access show that they did. What was that? The Ready Room? Yeah, the last Ready Room that he did. I think he hinted at that. Yeah, I mean, as far as Tilly goes, I think we'll probably see her continue role as number one next season. If not her, maybe even Ovo, which Ovo did kick ass this season, I might add. So I would, if they put her up into a first offer spot, I would not be mad. But other than that, yeah, I mean, they wrap things up all right with the characters. Wish we could have gotten just a little bit more, but I'm generally happy with the way they did it so far.
When
Okay.
it comes,
Go ahead, Travis.
when it comes to the how I grade the characters as far as leadership is concerned, I mean, like I just look back to how far they've come since the first season, and the seeds were like the seeds for who these characters became this season were sown in the debut season. From Michael Burnham's defiance in the premiere episodes, mutinying against her captain, trying to do things a way that she feels is the proper, like the right, well, maybe not morally right, maybe not, it's like by the book, but is a logical way of progressing forward, you know, firing first on the Klingons because that's how the Vulcans got the Klingons respect. But it's not a Starfleet thing to do, and she carries this for a very long time. In the second episode, no, not second episode, third episode of the third season, she tells Saru, like, over the year that she's been alone, she has lost a lot of what like she's lost a lot of what Starfleet shaped her out to be, and that she needs to find herself again. And seeing her like revert back into that you know, that rebellious officer, I thought was very natural. And seeing her, you know, making these mistakes, like having the right thing in mind, but like uh like having the right thing in mind but not going about it the way that she probably should have, and how the consequences catch up with her. I thought it was like a very like, long story short, I'm stuttering again. Michael Burnham grew a lot this season in ways that she has not in the previous two seasons. And Saru, when it comes to Saru, like I am remembering, I believe the episode is "Choose Your Pain," in which he steps into the captain's chair for the first time as an executive officer, and people like, I have to respectfully disagree when I hear people say that he is a bad captain on this season. I get that he's green, but we learn through experience, and Saru, despite being like in the captain's chair before, has never had to deal with it long term. He has always been an executive officer. He's always been carrying out the orders of Lorca, of Pike, and the few times that he has been in the captain's chair, he's still, you know, he's still acting on orders of a superior officer. He is not calling shots for a lot of the time. And seeing him, you know, struggle in this season, I thought it was very natural. He made some bad calls, but I mean, I feel that that's just a way to show us that he is still like finding his footing in the role. And I personally, like, I thought that he was very natural in the role, and he was a very believable portrayal of just how difficult such a position can be. And
But being green isn't a defense.
It's not a defense; it's an explanation.
But what I'm saying though is that just because he's green doesn't mean that his poor decisions don't make him be a bad captain. Like being green isn't an excuse of being a bad captain or making bad choices.
Yes, but when you're judging a green captain by the standards of very experienced captains, it's not fair either.
like, I've actually come to the defense of people like John Harriman in this aspect. Like like, for those who need a bit of a refresher, John Harriman is the captain of the Enterprise B in the very first scenes of Generations. And one of the first things I ever did in terms of dissecting Star Trek was I came to his defense, and I very much compared him to Captain Edward Smith, who was the captain of, ironically enough, he was the captain of the Titanic, and we all when Titanic struck the iceberg and started sinking, well, despite being this experienced captain of the White Star Line ocean liners, well, that night he was very indecisive, very in disbelief of what was happening. This was a man who was about to retire. He was the best of the best. And this one night, he just fell apart. And I very much looked at John Harriman in this same way. I am 100% certain that Starfleet would not hand command of its flagship to just some average Joe. I am 100% sure that before the Enterprise B, John Harriman was a very fulfilling captain and had just not exactly been in the position that he had been in the beginning beginning scenes of Generations.
It wasn't a pretty bad position, yeah.
And
If we're going to talk about green captains, Janeway.
Yep.
Was it her first command?
That was literally her first command.
But even with the mistakes she's made, like
No! Don't you start walking your ass back right now.
No.
Don't you even start walking your ass back right now.
Listen, Janeway. No.
That was her first fucking command of a ship.
I'm looking this up.
Right, but okay. But here's the deal. Saru made a decision in episode 3 or episode 4, episode 5. He had intelligence. He had someone who he supposedly trusted enough to be the second in command of his ship come and say, this is what I know. This is where we can, we have, if we go do this, we can find out more about the burn. And I've been harping about this all season. Saru's response wasn't, okay, let's go talk to Admiral Vance. It was, no. And we're not going to talk about it. And if it had been left up to Saru, right, and likewise, just like Burnham had to go out and make her own decision and take book ship and go. If it had been up to Saru, if she had followed Saru's orders, we wouldn't have gotten to the end of the season understanding the cause of the burn and getting a restored Federation. And we might have
an issue of priority, not of experience. I mean, because in that sense, he and Vance were kind of on the same page, which is we have immediate things to worry about. And that's where we should be applying our resources. Now, of course, the priority that Burnham had was basically, look, the galaxy is fucked up, and there's a reason why it's fucked up. And you all are assuming that because it happened 100 years ago, there's nothing more to learn from that finding out what started it is an academic pursuit, not one that is vital to the actual identity of the Federation and by extension the galaxy. And I think that is the difference between them, is that she was looking big. She was looking beyond what Vance could see, beyond what Saru would see, and that.
But Saru coming from the 22nd century, or 23rd century, should have been able to see that big picture.
That's silly. Just because he's from the same century, he's going to have the same point of view. No, he was a guy who was always by the book. He was always by the book. Now he's been granted an official captaincy for the first time, and he doesn't want to mess it up in front of his superior officer. That's not bad.
That's weakness.
It's not visionary.
It's weakness.
That's just silly. That's just silly. You can't call that weakness.
It is.
No, because you're looking backwards. You're going, he was obviously wrong because Burnham was right, therefore it's weak. That's not
but I thought that when I was watching it. I was pissed off when Saru wouldn't take that to Vance. I was pissed off that he wouldn't. That it was just, you know what, I don't care. I'm not even going to take this important piece of intelligence to my superiors and let them make and let them help make the decision.
Did you all get the idea that he was never going to tell Vance, or that he just didn't want to tell Vance right now, given that they were basically on standby to go out to whatever emergency it was they were supposed to be going out to?
But that's the point, Carlos. They would have always been on standby. They would have always been another emergency. They were always in this firefighting mode, and so like that's why they needed Burnham. That's why they needed Saru to be like, there's more to it. We have to get out of the muck of being reactive,
sure,
and be proactive, and Saru wouldn't do that.
But all that argues for, because I agree with your analysis. I'm just saying that to turn that into he was therefore a horrible captain, I think is just unfair. The best I think you can say is that he was not a very visionary captain. He didn't see beyond what was in front of his face, and that great captains do have that ability. And sure, he's not a great captain. I'm just saying he's not the worst captain.
You're right. That was Ransom.
Yeah. Right, of course.
And a few TOS captains and commodores for the mix.
So, there's plenty of captains who were not visionary. They just weren't. Okay, so let's talk
about the defected to the Maquis.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about where we think the Federation is going in season 4. And we talked about this a little bit last week, but now that we've had some time to reflect on this, the Federation is in this, what is the expression? The catbird seat. They are now the ascendant galactic power because they have dilithium and plenty of it. They also have the spore drive. And what does, from a storytelling perspective, where do you think that puts the, how much do you think the storytelling can or should capitalize on that as we move into season 4?
Oh, there's going to be war. I think there's going to be conflict because, Federation is the de facto seat of power in the galaxy right now, and other people aren't going to take that sitting down.
I think you're overstating things a little bit. The Federation is still quite diminished. It's going to take a lot of time for them to rebuild their technological base, their industrial base, and their political and diplomatic base. Yes, we saw Trill rejoin, and now that they have the means to get to and from easily, they can start making connections. But Earth and Navarre are still fairly alienated. They're tentatively reaching out to reestablish just diplomatic relations. But there's been a lot of harm done in the places that feel abandoned by the Federation for 300 years. So the Federation is growing again. I'd hesitate to call it ascendant just yet, but I think they're what's a good analogy for this? They're growing again, but they're not. I don't see them blitzing back to their old size again.
Anthony Armstrong in our comments says they are the U.S. in 1946. So right after.
Yeah, in a lot of ways they are the U.S. in 1946.
Mm-hmm. I think that's actually a pretty good. There you go. Thanks for putting that up.
I think the growth is going to come. I think next season we're going to see a lot more reconnecting with familiar groups and organizations. By the 30 seconds before the burn, the Klingon Empire was part of the Federation, according to Daniels and Enterprise. So I'm hoping we get to reconnect there and see what's become of the Klingons. I'd like to see other legacy races and organizations be reconnected with, but I'd also like to see what else we had the Emerald Chain rise to power. What else filled the void of the Federation after their withdrawal? Are we going to go to the Gamma Quadrant? Are we going to go to the Delta Quadrant? Discovery could go anywhere.
Where the hell are the Romulans in all of this?
On Navarre.
On Navarre.
Well, no, I mean, like, didn't they have like all the? Well, we have the people who were on Navarre. Didn't they? Didn't they like say that the Romulans were fractured?
No,
Hmm.
that was
Well,
A
Picard.
1,000 years before.
Yeah.
Well, at the same time, to assume that the entirety of the Vulcan and Romulan species is confined on Vulcan is a little narrow-minded.
It's not Vulcan. It's now
Bizarre.
Navarre.
Yeah,
Vulcan
now it's Vulcan
and
and
Romulus.
Romulus. But
But
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure we'll see some type of conflict because, I mean, it's just nature of the beast. The Federation has control of all the largest dilithium colony in the galaxy.
I would really like to see Earth be the rival to the Federation in season 4.
That, of all the ideas I've heard tonight, that
I like
is
that
the
idea.
most intrigues me
I
because,
like that idea.
yeah, I like that. I like
I mean,
that.
They're trying to take charge, and
Romulans had singularity cores. Is that a thing that we forgot?
well, they had singularity cores, but we don't know whether or not it depends on dilithium in a similar way.
Yeah, we don't know that.
we never got. To
However,
explore that.
the ships from Navarre did reach Starfleet headquarters in record time, and if what I saw is correct, it's about halfway between Earth and Bajor. So that's a fair distance.
Well, they've never really established how far Bajor is. They've always played fast and loose with how long it takes because in Discovery season 1, it took like 0 time to get from Earth to Vulcan, and that was Discovery. And other episodes, it takes much longer. I mean, in the Kelvin verse, it took
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Yeah, one
pretty
problem I have with Star Trek is travel times, which I mean, I get it. It's the build narrative in the story. You can't look in too much of that one. But I mean, people, they harp on the travel times. And it's science fiction, people.
If we're going to talk about travel times, all you got to do is say, like, look, every single main character's important conversations take place in the turbolift, and when it's finished, the turbolift opens.
It's true.
They know how long.
As far as Earth being a rival, I don't see I see them being like a competitor, but I don't see them being hostile.
No, but that would be fun.
It would be fun, but something dramatic would have to happen in order for Earth to become hostile.
Earth has its own dilithium stash.
What you saw
did happen.
when we saw Earth in Discovery, they were isolationists, yes, but they weren't overtly hostile. They were willing to listen to Discovery. They were willing to bring them on board. And after they solved their problem with the settlement on Titan, they were able to come to an accord. They let the crew onto the planet to visit familiar ground.
Sure, but you can't in one day expect that centuries of isolationism is just solved.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. I think it's going to take a long time for Earth to be reintegrated into the Federation if they even
want it, and that's the point.
I could see like a rival economic power with Earth making arrangements with people in the local area, but with the Federation now being such a huge source of dilithium, it's in their best interest to at least work diplomatically with them so that they can gain access to that dilithium.
The Soul Trade Federation.
It'll be Earth Defense Force, just like it used to be.
I'm not saying it's impossible. It's if they want to, they can absolutely do that.
I think it's an intriguing of all the ideas I've heard about who might be.
I like the idea because we know Earth has its own supply of dilithium, so they could be competing powers here. So
I just really like the idea of
us being the bad guys.
Talking for yourself, dude. Though it would just be really cool to see a different political setup than what we've used to with the Federation. And I think we all expect Navarre to rejoin and Earth to rejoin and Trill to rejoin, and what's the Pleasure Planet? We expect that to rejoin.
Risa. Guys, Andor. It was part of the chain.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. It's going to continue to be hostile.
Yeah, I mean they've got their pick of potential hostiles.
Yeah, well, what's really funny is that you don't have Earth, Teller, Navarre, and I mean basically the 4 founding worlds of the Federation aren't part of the Federation now. They could create their own rival Federation at this point.
Yeah.
You know, and claim to be the heir. And
So then we'd have 3 federations vying for power.
3.
I feel like that would just be a kind of a retread of the chain, though.
Not necessarily.
The first federation?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Andor doesn't thrill me as a as a potential. I just don't think there's enough there. Whatever there was was explored pretty well in Enterprise, and I'm
So
fine with that.
hear me out on this one.
Yeah.
Packlids. They
We want your ship.
accidentally create synthetic dilithium.
That would be great for lower decks. The Packlids are basically comedy. You know,
I do want to get to a point to where we do get back to Earth, and we see the Miles O'Brien statue.
did we know that?
What's that?
Did we know that was that on Earth?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it may not have been on Earth, but I wanna know, is that future before or after the events of Discovery? I hope it's after.
My guess is it's after, because you saw a Borg kid in there.
Yep.
So it is not in the 32nd century. Okay. All right. So we'll see where that goes. One last thing. Interesting article that came out this week. In where was it? It was in.
Hey, Carlos, before you jump in the next article,
Yeah.
the article that you have, the first article that we covered, the end of that has that piece about them filming seasons 4 and 5 together.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So Admiral Vance is, I think, the first not admiral we've seen, and
Katrina Cornwell.
yeah, that's true. Although she was kind of bad-ish for a while.
No, she was just a bit controversial. She was still willing to listen.
She was
to the
ready
crew
to commit genocide, dude.
So were
because
the
they were like the Klingons were right on the doorstep. Dude.
Nine. The logic virus that Picard was going to unleash on the Borg.
Yeah. No, there's been plenty of admirals.
Admirals aren't immune to human failings. That's the point. When
Let's
we're
talk
talking about admirals,
let's
we're
talk
talking
about
the admirals who actively betray the Federation's principles and do fucking terrible things.
And
let's talk about the worst admiral of all, the one who sent Jean-Luc Picard up to fight Sinjon.
I'm not touching that first season of TNG that took that reverse aging potion to cover up a big mistake that he made. He was a badmiral.
Well, the point of this article is that admirals have always been a great foil for the captains because they make bad choices. This goes back to the whole idea you were talking about earlier, Jason, that, about what makes a good captain, and that's being able to see things beyond what admirals see. And this is the first time we've actually had an admiral who was not only aware of his own limitations, but also was willing to stand up for principles.
I would love to get a Captain Vance series, just saying.
You would have to be demoted then first.
No, I mean like just DH him a little bit, before you see it, like back when he was a captain, see him running against the Emerald Chain.
Maybe.
I will also reference Admiral Maxwell Forrest, who was in Enterprise. I don't recall him really being a corrupt admiral, and he was.
Wasn't he one who didn't he get killed?
He got killed
by the logic extremists.
Yeah, he was killed season 4.
Yeah,
he was killed in season 4. Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen season 4. I just remember him being a very major character, and
was there more Enterprise in the episode where Riker and Troy were doing a holodeck episode?
TNG Admiral Nechev.
I'll also stand up for freaking William Ross. William Ross, he was controversial, especially during the Dominion War. But again, it wasn't so much in that Badmiral type of way. He was very much like the Federation was.
When he was in league with Section 31.
They were.
No, he wasn't in league with
all
Section
in league
31.
with Section 31.
He wasn't in league with it.
Section 31 is a part of Starfleet. Everybody up top knew what Section 31 was, including Cisco. Everything we saw was a show to put on for Julian Bashir to get him to join.
I'm not thinking about that episode. I'm thinking it's a Latin episode. Enter
Armin Sigint Legis.
That's
the one.
Yeah.
He was working. He was working with Section 31 because Section 31 is a part of Starfleet. It is not. It's not the shadow organization that they presented to Bashir. They did that for his benefit.
I mean, literally, it's named after a section in the Federation Charter.
No, in the Starfleet Charter.
Or Starfleet Charter.
There's a difference.
But again, the point is, like, I don't see William Ross as a admiral.
Well, I think I'm talking about it from a storytelling perspective, where they're foils to show that who serve to show how virtuous our captains are.
It's more prominent in TOS, mostly with Commodores, though. But they're a form.
Yeah, the Commodores.
But the best Badmiral was Badmiral Clancy.
Oh yeah, fucking Hubert.
Yes.
She was a badass Merle.
Do you guys remember the first introduction to the Cardassians in TNG? That was a Federation Badmiral episode, right? With the Admiral taking control of the thing and blowing up the Cardassian ships.
Oh right, yeah.
He was building for war.
No, he was an admiral. He was a captain.
No, wait, yeah, I think he was a captain.
He was O'Brien's old captain. He was
Admiral Preston.
Yeah, there's another one.
Yes.
Was he the one with the?
He was the one that they did this Enterprise episode after.
He's the one that caused the best episode of Enterprise.
He's the one who did these.
You just gave me that softball, Justin.
I know. I regretted it as soon as I said it. I know.
Travis, what were you going to say?
Owen Paris.
Owen Paris was a very good admiral.
Yeah, he was a pretty good admiral.
He was saccharine. He was
what?
too saccharine.
Too saccharine?
Oh,
what?
You wanted to save the.
He was too saccharine.
Expound on that some more.
He just was like he was a puff. He was a puff piece. Like it was like he was just like he was the stern dad, but he was Janeway's mentor, and it's just I don't know. I just didn't care for Owen Paris. I mean, the dude, he has an opportunity to talk to his dad or his son the moment his grandchild is born, and nothing. Like it's like
that's on the writers.
You know what else I didn't care for?
What does that have to do with anything?
It's just an anti-Fassé move.
Yeah.
What was that? I didn't see anything. I was looking at my other monitor.
There you go.
It's fine. He has. I gave him the toy now, so it doesn't matter.
So my point was that that episode of TNG, that's literally what I've seen of Burnham throughout most of this show. Like, she is literally that captain to me. That's the problem I have had with Burnham. She's the one going after. She knows what's going on, but she's going after the Cardassian ships and blowing them up. If that makes any sense.
So
she only just became captain, though.
So Den of Geek has Owen Paris as a bad admiral.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, I disagree with that.
So this is what they say. Admiral Paris was put in charge of the project dedicated to finding his own son, which is a clear conflict of interest. But to be fair, that's his superior's fault. Other bad behavior didn't make much difference anyway, since Paris was prepared to make time to talk to Captain Janeway about the Doctor's moonlighting efforts as a popular fiction writer, but not, it seems, to actually talk to his son or daughter-in-law. When he welcomes Janeway home, both of them turn off the channel before he's even said as much as hi to his son, and seconds before he could hear the first gurgles of his newly born granddaughter. Again,
that's on the writers. Like that's something I will blame the writers for.
Here's what I got to say.
They were a little overcome with emotion that they'd finally arrived, that the fulfillment of their mission had happened, and they just saw a fucking Borg cube explode in front of them, and Voyager emerged from it.
He was a little distracted.
Just a little bit.
This article also lists Admiral James T. Kirk as a bad admiral.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with that. Kirk sucked.
Yeah,
he was such a bad admiral that he was rewarded with a demotion back to captain.
He was such a bad admiral that he seized command from a ship from a captain who was more than capable of commanding it out of ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The number one bad admiral in this article is Admiral Cartwright.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I actually liked him. That's bad.
Except for the part about
insurrection
minor.
He was the MAGA of the 21st century.
Oh no, you didn't. No.
I actually agree with that.
Just light treason.
Why did you bring
make
up
the galaxy great again?
Oh, stop it!
Stop it!
I'm saying it for you, Travis.
If you really think about it, if you really truly think about the goings on of that movie, it was all the bad guys who actually created one of the first galactic alliances to keep everybody separate.
Yeah, that's the irony.
Yeah, Valeris said it. Everyone who stands to lose from peace.
Mm-hmm.
They conspired with us to kill their own leaders.
Valeris is a great antagonist, and it should have been fucking Saavik.
Yeah.
Remind me where she ended up on your list, Travis.
I believe she was number 27.
Not high enough.
That's pretty low, dude.
Yeah,
like I said,
she was below Chaotica. That's all I'm gonna say.
Again,
Chaotica.
The reason why I ranked her as I did is because I just have this is a very personal thing. I really, really, really believe that she would have shot straight up if it was Saavik. The fact that there was just this person that we didn't know too much about, it just didn't resonate as much as it should have. And I'm not going to sit here and say that she's a bad antagonist. Again, I believe that she's the best antagonist of that movie, but the fact is,
you ranked
it
her
just
below
doesn't have.
Chaotica, a holodeck program.
You interrupt me, you know that.
Hey, Moriarty was a holodeck program too.
Moriarty, he was badass.
But he was a
Badgie was a badass.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not mad that you had holodeck characters higher. It's you had the Wish version of Ming the Merciless as a top
Dr.
Star Trek
Chaotica is a
antagonist.
bunch of fucking
No.
fun,
Dr. Chaotica is I ordered Ming the Merciless from Wish and I got garbage.
I have no idea who you're talking about, so
You don't know who Ming the Merciless is?
I don't know who Ming the Merciless
What?
You're
Flash.
guys. You are talking to a child.
That's why Lane is the super geek in that group, right?
Lane knows who Ming the Merciless is.
Damn, we made Justin quit.
I just like that almost half of us were in unison for just that moment.
Travis,
Love you, Travis.
You heard me. You wounded me physically.
Hey, it is fixable. We can sit him down and watch Flash.
He wanted to watch B movies.
Flash Gordon is this?
Yes.
We're going to tie his ass out to the chair. We're going to tie his ass to the chair, peel his eyes open, and make him watch.
He wanted to watch B movies. Flash Gordon is the Best of them all.
Which is true.
I have a theme in mind for my B movies.
Well, you're
Don't
feeding-
make me
Yes, you're
explain
right.
myself again.
Yeah, it's disasters, which it
A
was.
terrible, terrible theme that I'm putting myself through.
Yeah,
And we get
we won't make you to.
And we get to see Richard O'Brien around the same time that he's writing the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
And soundtrack by Queen.
True.
Yeah.
And I thought that's
Okay,
always
one of
good.
us.
Anyway, the main point is I fucking support my ranking of Dr. Chaotica. I fucking like Dr. Chaotica, and those who don't like Dr. Chaotica can suck a nut or something.
This
I
is
mean,
all
if you like,
very,
I mean,
very
if you
entertaining.
like walking down the streets of San Francisco and getting a Rolex watch as opposed to a Rolex watch, you can have your Dr. Chaotica.
Hey,
Wow.
Okay.
Your
We're
Louis
gonna watch
Vuitton
both.
bag.
we're
dude,
going
I'm
to
happy
move
with my
on.
fucking
That's what
Timex.
Captain Proton is based on.
That's right. Well, the whole thing is based on Captain Proton. Yeah. Okay. So Captain Proton is what you said,
Yeah.
Ross. Okay. So all they're saying is that if you're going to rank him as highly as you did, you should know who he was. Who
I
he
know
copied from.
that Captain Proton is based off Flash Gordon. That doesn't mean I have to go and sit my ass down and watch Flash Gordon.
Yes,
It's
it
just
does.
not for me.
Well, sure, but if you know who, that's like saying I know who Superman is, but I don't know who Lex Luthor is, or Batman and the Joker.
Superman
Travis-
derivatives.
Travis likes Professor Chaos, but doesn't know who the hell Butters is or what South Park is.
Travis.
I think
Yo,
that the analogy there would be Kenny, wouldn't it?
No.
I'm kidding.
Oh.
See what happens when we're on a content
Drought.
drought.
Hey,
Okay,
Yeah,
so we're
that's
gonna move ahead to our next topic, which is it's kind of a combo topic because it's about Adira and Gray, and the
Please
article.
don't let it be the pretzel kind. I hate the pretzel combos.
Right. No, they won't be. It won't be that.
it's salty.
So one of the criticisms, the most ludicrous criticisms I read about it's from the same article that we talked about in our first topic, but this one, look, I want to read to you a paragraph from this article and see if it strikes you as ludicrous as it did me.
hit me.
Okay. I'm trying to avoid having to read two paragraphs, so let me just pick out the best part. Okay. Rather than clearly stating their pronouns upon arrival on Discovery, Adira is called by female pronouns throughout most of the season before raising the issue with Stamets. He's apparently the first person Adira has told about their gender identity, aside from Gray, which makes their identity seem like an inherently shameful secret. If they weren't serving the same role of portraying a more inclusive world as the original Star Trek's multiracial cast did, Gray and Adira could have been used as metaphors for discovering and embracing gender identity. This seemed to be the direction the writers were going in on early, but the biggest problem is that both characters are just used as accessories for the relationship between Stamets and his boyfriend, Hugh Culber.
What?
They're saying that, okay, well, here's what struck me as weird about what they wrote there, is they're talking about, they're saying that it's a missed opportunity because they could have been metaphors.
It's not woke enough.
Well, it's just that they're not metaphors. They were being actual characters who are these things. You don't need a metaphor if you're actually portraying them as characters who are going through the thing, the issue that the show is trying to deal with. So
That's like
This is
trying
the
to
problem with Revenge of the Woke. Honestly,
I think that's just bad analysis. I don't see that. Well, I mean, in the sense that that if you're trying to call this Revenge of the Woke because they just do a bad job at seeing, at being able to perceive what the issue is or how the issue is being dealt with, then okay.
I think there's this point like where like you get like so woke that like you like start to regress, or you start to it's like when something is woke is out there and it isn't woke enough for your tastes, you have to shame it. Like it's like woke shaming. Like I'm more woke than that woke thing, so that means it's inferior and it's not.
Well, I mean, the problem is it becomes its own sort of dogma, and as such, the idea behind being woke is that you can perceive things that are wrong, that have been traditionally dealt with in a bad way, and the idea behind it is that it's birthed as a result of critical thinking. But like many things, once it takes a kind of a more definite shape, it becomes its own dogma, and then you don't think about it anymore, and then it just becomes a list of rules by which you judge people's actions or beliefs. And that's the danger, but where it started from is certainly the right place, which is critical thinking.
No, I think it's like you have. I mean, I think there is a race, a sprint to be the most woke in popular culture, right? And to be the most critical and to be the most progressive and most forward thinking, so that when you get something like this, if it isn't as that there is, like I think you said, there's a dogma that comes out about it, where it's, if you don't think this way, then you're obviously not, like I saw a lot of criticism early on about the she, her pronouns being used for Adira, and then, she transitioned over. And the reality is that from what I read, that this was a journey of both the character, but also the actor. Mm-hmm. And not like I think the actress or the actor, they already internalized their sexual or their gender identity, but they hadn't been out with it as they were in the filming of the season. And so from what I understand, that it was the journey of the character and the journey of the actor were very much parallel with having that self-identity already established, but wanting to assert that self-identity with others.
Sure. And I think the mistake that this article makes is that, they're trying to portray it as, showing this as a shameful thing that she had to, stand up against, when actually the way I saw it was they were just figuring it out, which takes time. And that's what identity, that's the problem identity would give anybody, regardless of whether, eventually how it shakes out, whether that's an accepted thing. Going through it and not knowing who you are and being desperate sometimes about trying to figure that out, that's sort of an inherent shame. It's not necessarily a societal shame.
What I get out of what you just read to us is that the author is complaining that Adira filled the role that she was meant to fill.
Yeah.
That she's supposed to be this metaphor for self-identity. But she was.
Yeah.
The whole process of coming out was just that, like you said, a process. She was afraid to fully express who she felt she was because she was afraid of
well, she didn't know it yet. She was figuring it out.
To changing how she wanted to be seen by others and how she wants to be seen by others. And the fact that Stamets was so open to it immediately is powerful, is wonderful, is beautiful, and a testament to who he and the rest of society in the 23rd century was, not just the 32nd. And going through that stress, that worry, and then the immediate relief of Stamets just saying, okay, you're they now. Congratulations.
Excellent.
And they're complaining about that?
Yeah, I just
Come on.
it's like, do you guys ever read the space.com reviews of Star Trek Discovery? The guy who writes those, he has a bug up his butt.
But them and IO9, they just look for stuff to complain about. They're almost fandom menace at this point.
They pretty much are.
all I can think about right now is just a couple of my own friends who are kind of going through. They're kind of in. Well, one of them has found herself. The other is still kind of like in this middle ground. Not sure how he identifies sexually, and I mean, the way as Ross said, like Adira's hesitation to like come out and say like I don't really identify as a she. I mean, I know somebody right now who is terrified to take that step. She identifies as trans lesbian, and her family is very conservative Christian. And like, I talk with her quite often, and just hear some of the things that her family would think if she were to come out and say like, I'm not your son. I identify as a woman, and like just like I cannot imagine like just that kind of burden. Like I'm very stubborn optimist when it comes to like trying to see the best in people, and like when I first met her, like, and she like opened up, I very much was like, I tried to like give that positive, like, well, I mean, like, you are their child. I like to think that most families would, you know, even if they don't understand their child, would still love them. And I mean, like, just wow, what she has like said, like it's really kind of opened up just how big a deal this really is to so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And I really I do believe that Adira in those few moments alone and the scenes that followed where, you know, Hugh and Paul are talking about them in the way that they are. It was a very like when I first watched it, I was not sure how to take it, but the more and more I think about it, just the more and the more I like really start to like think about, you know, the people I know who are going through this, and I'm just thinking to myself like, it's really well done. And
yeah, well, I think definitely that's what they were aiming for, you know, is for it to affect people the way you know it made you think. So we're going to move on. Quick side note: news that came out, I think, just today, was that Mary Wiseman, who plays Tilly, actually came out as queer. And
congratulations to her.
Because she's married, but she apparently came out by, well, not literally by accident, but they were in a Zoom call in an interview, and the interviewer thought she heard Mary Wiseman say something about not being straight, but because the Zoom audio kind of glitched, she wasn't sure that's what she said. So she asked again, and then she said, "Yeah, I'm out and proud." And that was kind of an interesting thing to find out today. So good for you, Mary Wiseman.
I had to go. I had to go hunting for a meme. That article is this meme that I posted in our private chat here in the StreamYard.
Okay, I'll take a look at it. Okay, so we're going to move into some news about Viacom CBS and Paramount Plus and so forth. And I don't know if we need to linger on it so much as just to sort of look at it as an update on how Viacom CBS is doing in terms of its streaming strategy, which apparently they're very happy with how it's going, how All Access has been going. They, of course, bought Pluto, which apparently went from making $2 million a day in advertising revenue to $3 million a day in advertising revenue within the space of 1 month, which is kind of an amazing growth spurt.
That's a lot of ads.
And everybody said that this was a bad move.
Yeah. So it's interesting to me that it seems to be panning out, which is good news for Star Trek. I think looking forward, good news for Paramount Plus as All Access makes its transition from CBS to that brand. And, that the other parts of their streaming strategy with Showtime and so forth is still, that's a wise move, to move beyond broadcast.
But it's a failure, and Alex Kurtzman's fired.
And Michelle Paradise is also fired.
According to Divine Guardian.
Yeah, Divine Idiot.
It feels like a lot of people who think that this is a bad business move are actually saying, well, I don't have CBS All Access. I have Netflix, and it should be on Netflix, and it's not on Netflix, and therefore this is a bad idea.
These are the same people who instead will, you'll pay for a case of beer instead of, paying the cost of All Access.
These are the same people who will report on random rumors on fucking 4chan and put it out as fact and views.
Here's the deal. So Discovery changed their production name in the schedules, I think like 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago.
Yeah, they changed it from the Green Harvest to something else.
Right.
Something with milk, I think.
Yeah. And so when they did that, it prompted all of the rumors that it was, so that was the video. I don't know if you saw that. Like that was.
It was Robert Meyer Burnett that started it, and then everybody else ran with it.
And then somebody, and I forgot who it was, started pointing out that it's the same exact producers, timing, and all that as the new one. But I'm almost positive that the production team behind Discovery does that kind of stuff just to fuck around with the.
I'm beginning to think that too.
They do, because I know.
Alex Kurtzman's like, I haven't been fired lately. Let me.
I think it's time.
I think it's time for me to get fired again.
They gotta fuck with these guys by now, because they get just as much of a laugh out of this shit as we do, because they see this ignorant shit get posted by people like Robert Meyer Burnett. I mean, who's so salty because he can't get in on these Star Trek. So, he's in with the rumor crowd, and they post off this new shit every other week. It's something different.
You know what they say. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Who's still feeding rumors to Robert Meyer Burnett on the production team?
Oh, I'm
sure. The voice is in his head, probably.
Oh no,
I'm sure.
He's saying Kurtzman is.
He would like you to believe that, but no, he probably knows multiple people on that crew. He's been around.
But why would they? At this point, though, like it's not like he knows how to keep his mouth shut.
Well, like I said, he probably got in trouble. Whoever it was probably got in trouble last time around whenever he leaked the whole Guardian clever plot.
He did.
Do you have something to say here, Lane?
Because he went on a rant about a week before it was published, and he was told to take it down.
Freaking, what was I going to say? No, next time if I get another invite to a digital premiere, I'll ask Kurtzman if he does that kind of thing.
Yeah, see that you do. Anyway, just to wrap up that topic, I think it's good to check in every now and again from a fact-checking perspective, just to see from a business standpoint how CBS Viacom's decisions, particularly as they relate to Star Trek, are actually turning out. And so far, so good.
So to recap, everything is fine. Nobody's fired. Nothing's canceled. Everything's still in production. And the Phantom Menace is full of idiots.
And I still haven't won the lottery.
You still have to what?
I still haven't won the lottery.
Oh, that's news. Okay, let's skip to our other favorite show for those of us who are watching it, which is The Expanse. And
I have issues.
I haven't seen anything
okay,
yet.
I got your message about that, so I'm curious. Yeah, Ross is going silent because he.
So is Jason. Well, okay.
You guys need to catch up.
Okay,
I know I gotta watch it. I'm busy watching.
Well,
cinematic.
you've got a content drought now, dude.
Yeah, so now you have no excuse.
I know we've got a content
There
drought.
are
I've got like
5
people telling me to
It's
watch.
okay.
I have.
Okay.
I'm rewatching Sequest DSV right now.
Really?
So am I. So am I.
That first
I
season.
want to watch
is great.
Babylon
That
5
first
though.
season.
Yeah, I
Nathan
need
Bridger
5
all the way.
Hell yes. Like I said, I totally.
Unless
fit
it's 2032
PSV
or
my head canon of Star Trek as far as that first season is concerned. I will take that to my grave. Anyway, you guys
unless it's
talk about
2032.
Expanse. I'm gonna eat a
2032
brownie.
sucks.
Justin, let him finish before you jump in on it. Go ahead. Well,
You're gonna go eat a brownie.
okay. Ooh, now I'm hungry for a brownie. Okay, so let's talk. Let's talk what your complaint is, Justin, about this.
Okay, well, the main thing was the end scene. Okay, we see her go out in space. Any other person we have seen in this show that gets thrown out in space dies instantly.
Lies. That has not been shown that way. It's not. You have, and if you know how to do it, you can go up to 15 seconds.
This was longer than 15 seconds.
Well, it was also in slow motion, so I don't think you can. And plus, she had it extended by giving herself that that shot in the of oxygen directly into her bloodstream. So that enabled her to go beyond.
And her eyeballs didn't explode. Nothing went out of the ordinary. I just had issues with that scene.
No, I thought it was well done. And we know how long a human body can survive in a vacuum.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I bet there's going to be consequences because of that. Because they made sure to show her eyes, so maybe she's going to lose her eyesight now.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
Something like that. She definitely probably lost her eyesight. But
no,
overall,
remember what we've seen. What their medical technology is like in this era, and it's pretty damn good. So I'm sure there's no long-term damage. Okay, so was that it though? What did you?
That was my primary complaint. I enjoyed it otherwise though.
Okay,
I liked how they advanced some of the story arcs of Amos, and his friend, and the whole post-apocalyptic thing they got going on Earth right now because of the asteroid strike. Spoilers. Rose, you haven't seen the rest of the season. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be, going to play it out as much as possible. I'm actually surprised that they didn't put Trello as, the person in charge again, because I thought that's where they were going to go. But looks like she's perfectly.
That they were going to put who? Oh, Officer Trello?
No, yeah, I thought they were going to put her in charge again.
She is.
She's the secretary again, ain't she?
Yeah, she's on the cabinet of the Secretary General.
Yeah.
So she's not. I mean, you can't just with a magic wand turn her into a Secretary General. But she's clearly in a place of influence. So she's definitely ascendant, which is good for her. And actually, if she'd gotten a post that was higher up, she might have been one of the people killed, along with what was her name, Gao, the Secretary General. But I think we have 3 episodes left in the season, so there's a lot to do. I have faith that they'll bring it all together pretty well. But so far so good. I'm enjoying it.
All right.
I'm liking that we're spending actually quite a bit of time with the big bad for the season, Marco Inaros and her son, Naomi's son as well. I think her leap of faith was basically saying she's giving up on the both of them because it looked like she was making some headway with her son, but then his father made his power play and basically manipulated him into hating his mother again. So, but I think we'll see something develop with that more. Maybe not this season though, but it depends how quickly they move to ending the threat from Marco Inaros, which I'm not sure.
I don't think they're going to wrap that up this season.
I actually hope they don't, because he represents these much bigger issues in terms of the belts versus the inner planets, and I don't want to see. It'd be a shame to have that just sort of neatly tied up in 3 episodes. So yeah, so I hope it's something that we see extended. Okay, all right, let's call back Ross. You can come back. Travis, you can come back.
Travis, come back.
I'm here.
Come back.
I answer the call.
Okay, so we're going to talk about a couple of quick news items. The 3rd and final season of Lost in Space from Netflix just wrapped, so it means we should be seeing it sometime in 2021. How many of you are fans of Lost in Space, the Netflix series?
Danger,
I love it.
Robinson, danger.
I haven't watched the 2nd season yet.
You need to. Yeah, you catch up. It's actually a good season.
Yeah,
I started.
I was
started?
really looking forward to this. Back when the 1st season aired, I got in touch with author Mark Cushman to do a kind of both the retrospective of that season and the original to go in line with his series of books that he wrote about the production. But then my son was born and we didn't get past 2 episodes.
I should hook you up with someone who is actually not a big fan of Mark Cushman's. But that's another topic we can bring up another time.
We'll talk about that offline.
Yeah, we'll do that because I think you'd find it interesting. Okay, other thoughts on Lost in Space, Travis? Why haven't you watched it? Good God, man!
I mean, like I started it.
Oh, okay.
I started. I don't remember how far I got in the 1st season. I'd probably have to start over by now, but I did I remember enjoying it from what I watched. The characters I thought were written fairly well, and I very much detested the antagonist. What's her name?
Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith.
Yeah, I detested her for all the right
God.
reasons. And there were times where I was actually legitly oh God, I don't feel comfortable watching this.
Dr. Smith is a Romulan.
No, she's Captain Hook.
Oh no, she's a Romulan. She's sneaky and manipulative. Captain Hook is just.
She's Lex Luthor's lame henchman from what should have been a good Superman movie.
I don't.
Miss Tessmacher?
No, she wasn't Miss Tessmacher. She wasn't even Miss Tessmacher. What was her name? She was
Mercy.
Yeah, whatever.
But I remember enjoying it for what it was. Again, I don't really remember why I stopped. I have nothing against the show. I think I just kind of got involved in something else. But I mean, if they I've heard that this is this was meant to be the final season. So
yeah, there's
when I get to it, I hope they can wrap it up better than the original show wrapped up.
The other show just kind of
petered off.
Yeah, it was I was live watching it. It was like one episode was completely disconnected from another episode. One episode they were in space, another one they were crash landing on a planet, and it just went back and forth. It was
they were kind of aired out of order at times.
Yeah.
And since a lot of the especially the 1st season was shot sequentially with one episode directly leading into the other, that kind of got weird. And the nature of characters had to change. Dr. Smith went from a Captain Hook type character to the bumbling idiot in order for the character even to stay around. He couldn't be this
army of spiders. Spiders.
Yeah, it is not aged well, although a lot of people
virus.
love it. Yeah,
You do that a little too well there, Travis.
Are you going back to the Lost in Space movie with Gary Oldman turning into a spider?
That was actually a decent movie, honestly.
It was a decent movie.
It was a decent movie.
I've never seen it. I just saw a review of it.
Oh my god!
Ooh, the pain. The pain.
You guys gotta give me shit for not seeing a shitty 1997 movie that was panned at the box office now.
Yes.
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 What the
Lane is
original
disapproving.
Bill Robinson. He was in that. He made a cameo in the movie, and he
Hold
made
on.
Mumey? Bill Mumey?
yeah, Bill Mooney. Yeah, he had a cameo in the first season. He was the actual Dr. Smith in the show.
Wait,
Yeah.
Travis, did you watch Battleship or Battlefield Earth?
I fucking own Battlefield Earth.
You watched Battlefield Earth, but you did not watch the original Lost in
Dude,
Space movie.
Sometimes a film is so bad that it's good, and Battlefield Earth is one of those films. For me.
No.
Hell, yes. I
You know
know.
what I wish I
We're not
owned?
gonna go down that path.
Yeah.
You know what I wish
No,
I
I
owned?
think-
Open this
What
can
do
of
you wish you owned,
worms,
son?
and you're gonna
Galactica
sit down
1980.
and you guys made this shit sandwich. You guys are gonna take a good bite of this shit
Son.
sandwich. You're gonna smile, and
And what were
it
you gonna
tastes
say?
good.
I said, you know what I wish I owned? Galactica 1980.
Yes. No, that
I actually rewatched that about a couple of years
It's
ago.
not as bad as people pan it.
It is as bad as
No, it's not.
yes, it is.
really
It's
isn't.
really, really bad. Really bad.
that's the reason
Yeah.
why I only
Yeah.
listened to one
It had
article on my
had some
bizarre
redeeming-
fascination.
It had some redeeming elements, but it was pretty bad. I mean, it was made more bad because it had some elements of the original that were good, but unfortunately they were completely mitigated by the bad choices they made. Speaking of, what is that?
like that.
That is one of the cyclos of the movie. I don't remember his name, but he has a massive chin, and oh god, like
Speaking of massive chins, have any of you watched the new watched The Stand on CBS All Access?
no.
I finally broke down and started watching it this week. And the disease that they get, the pandemic in it, it gives everyone this huge, huge chin that apparently in some cases gets poked and it just spurts pus.
Oh god.
It's really gross, but everyone looks just
God damn it,
hilarious.
Carlos.
So it's basically a goiter.
Yeah, it's basically like a goiter.
So they're all like big John McCain's walking around.
I thought you were going to say John Goodman. It's terrible. I like John Goodman. Anyway, but it's worth a watch. I would say, watch the first one and see what you think. It's got a great cast, but anyway. Okay, so we're speaking about Battlestar, and some more news came out this week. An interview with Sam Esmail, who's he's not technically the showrunner. I guess he's a producer, and but one of the other, he has a head writer who's technically the showrunner on it, but he's the guy behind the guy. Anyway, he says, and he's still telling us almost nothing about the story, which is driving me crazy. He is saying he has the blessing of Ron Moore. He is saying that it is definitely set in Ron Moore's universe in some way. But here's the news part. The news hook this week is he's saying that that Peacock has agreed to allow them to release episodes, if you want to call them that, of this new Battlestar Galactica in lots of different formats. Meaning, he used, for an example, if there's like a huge battle that takes 3 episodes to tell the story about, they may release all 3 episodes at once. They may do one-offs that might be only 20 minutes long. And so it's not going to be like every episode is an hour long for 10 or 13 weeks. So it's an interesting non-format, which, what do you guys think of a show like a rebooted Battlestar Galactica being told in this sort of
I don't know. I mean, we had a plot. If we had some type of a story plot, maybe I would know. But I mean, so far, with this information,
So that's a no from you. Who else?
I will say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I actually like this idea a lot. I mean, like, I think Discovery this season could have benefited from having a non-traditional release format where you could have supersized episodes, you could have reduced episode lengths to what was it, episode the which episode was it that I was complaining that the pacing was it the finale where it was just going like you'd cut to different scenes.
It was second to last. It was the one where they were
there's the tide
between Emerald Chain and Dilithium Planet.
Yeah, where you were just doing like this like
weird pacing.
The pacing of the stories were like the scenes on Discovery were heart pounding, and so it brought a certain sense of like of emotion to it. Whereas then you would cut back to the Su'Kal screen scenes, which were much slower. So it was just weird. I mean, not saying the show was bad, but that like I could see how you could take this format or take this non-format and be able to tell a story in a way where you don't have those complex, where you're not like cutting from, like I said, like a very intense action scene to a very slow, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Travis, you're going to say something.
I was going to say that I personally am open to this approach because, like, I am much more a fan of a traditional format. I do like my hour-long Star Treks, and I do like them released weekly. But, I mean, we've also got shows like The Mandalorian, which can have episodes as long as 51 minutes, but also as short as 28 minutes. And it's like, I mean, I enjoy The Mandalorian. I do have my quarrels with it, but I mean, that's not really based on the format. If Battlestar Galactica, whatever this story is, if it benefits from this kind of release, then I'm curious to see how they will approach it.
Okay, so far 2 pros, 1 anti. Ross, how do you weigh it?
I'd have to see it to really get a better understanding of it. I do know that other shows have benefited from different runtimes. Some of my favorite shows that I've talked about, both Red vs. Blue and Ruby, have episodes as short as 15, but as long as 30. So let me see it's in action. Let me see an example of what he's talking about, and I'll be able to make a better idea, a better judgment.
Okay, Son, any thoughts?
Just as long as it's a single medium, for Christ's sakes.
Oh, you don't want a transmedia experience?
I was worried to death you were going to go on with that if we get this really huge battle that's going to take place over 3 episodes, just put it into a comic book. It's like, look,
yeah, you know what though? I actually had
09 Trek, because like to understand what the hell is going on in 09 Trek with Nero, I have to read the Countdown comic.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that.
They did that twice.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, with
those comics are totally
and they did it with Picard.
And then they retconned it. They retconned what happened in with the Enterprise E and all that because of Data.
Well, I mean, like, it could still say that a good chunk of it is soft canon, and I'd still say that those both Countdown and Nero from IDW are well worth reading. Those are some of my personal favorite Star Trek.
I won't disagree with you there, but I think I side with Sun on this, just in the sense that, they should each be able to stand on their own.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to use it at all.
Yeah. So, and Sun, I actually, when I first came across this article this week, I also had exactly the same fear that you did, that they were talking about.
Holy shit!
Yes.
Put up the achievement.
Put up my achievement unlocked.
I was getting there.
So yes, we're on the same page there. Okay, well, I'm with I think the majority here, which is that it's an experiment worth trying out.
I mean, I'm not against trying it out. I just want to know what the show premise is.
Well,
It's just-
it's sort of chicken and the egg, Justin. I mean, deciding on a format has a lot to do with
yeah, but it would something like this wouldn't work for something like The Mandalorian, but it would work for
You don't
something
know
like
that.
Discovery.
You don't know that.
Yeah.
Good things come to those who wait.
Yeah, that's what they say. But
Anything worth doing is worth the risk.
Sure. The challenge I think that's going to be presented by this can be a pacing challenge. Actually, going to your point, Jason, which screenwriters are used to following not a formula per se, but when you're aiming for a certain length, that dictates what the ebb and flow, what the rising action, climax, falling action of a story is going to be. And if that's either compressed too much or stretched out too much, you end up with definite pacing problems. So that's a challenge they're going to have to contend with, I think, for it to work. But I like the idea of the flexibility of the storytelling. Okay, next item for us to opine about is released this week of news that a little bit more news about Amazon's version of Lord of the Rings, and which apparently is going to tell the story of Sauron's rise to power in the Second Age, I believe.
Second Age.
I know I was initially skeptical about yet another version of Lord of the Rings, particularly since the last one was actually pretty good.
Even the trees walked in those movies.
Yeah.
I mean, boo.
So is the
Wait.
fact that it's not a retell, it's actually telling a story that hasn't really been told. It's been referenced, but not really told by Tolkien. How does that work for you? Yeah, Travis.
Time out. Are you saying when you say that the last story of Lord of the Rings was pretty good, do you mean the LOTR trilogy or the Hobbit trilogy?
No, the Lord of the Rings.
All right, good, because the Hobbit trilogy sucks.
Well, the Lord of the Rings trilogy sucks too. So
I
No,
don't think so.
fuck you. Stop it.
I'm with Travis and Lane on this one. Lane,
there's only one trilogy, and it ain't of the rings.
which one?
Anyway,
Oh, that one.
Ashamed of yourself. Anyway, honestly, as far as this is concerned, I mean, like, call me picky when it comes to fantasy. This is gonna, like, I keep hearing about, this new LOTR show coming out. It's like, it's all talk and nothing is really piquing my interest. Granted, like, admittedly, I am far more into science fiction than I am fantasy. I find a lot of fantasy to be very bland. There are exceptions. I think Lord of the Rings is one of the best film trilogies out there. I enjoy games like Skyrim, and if I think hard enough, I'm sure I'll be able to come up with one or two more examples of fantasy that I enjoy. Monty Python and the Holy Grail is another one, even though it's more comedy. But
More comedy.
like,
It's all comedy.
But with this, like, I just don't really feel like it would grasp me. Like, I'm sure that the story of Sauron's rise to power in Middle-earth is a good story per se, but I mean, it lacks like a lot of the themes and like the core like essence that makes the Lord of the Rings such a special story. There
Perhaps
is
some
so
context
much that.
then.
What's that?
perhaps some additional context, because the headline simplifies it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Perhaps
you want to say more about that, Ross?
Yeah. So this series takes place in the Second Age of Middle Earth. The Lord of the Rings trilogy takes place at the end of the Third Age. An age is a kind of undefined period of time where a lot goes on that are bracketed by major events. So this isn't just the rise of Sauron. This is also the rise and fall of the human kingdom of Numenor, when men were more akin to elves, long-lived, great. They're the ones that built the blasphemy.
Blasphemy. I agree.
Jason, you're fired.
Now you have to put up the
Those
complaint
effing
thing.
Hobbit movies were as boring as hell. All it
They
was a
were.
bunch of
We're not
people
talking
walking.
about the Hobbit movie.
3 movies, people walking through a volcano. Here's the first movie. Wait, here's the second movie.
Please stop quoting Clarks at this point. It's been done.
And the third movie.
All right, we get it.
The Hobbit trilogy.
I love Kevin Smith, but this is irrelevant. So there is a lot that goes on within the Second Age that is bookended by Sauron's rise to power. He forges the rings of power. He subverts the kingdoms of men. He forges the Master Ring, and he becomes the Dark Lord, the second Dark Lord, because there's more than one in the history of Lord of the Rings. And it is ended by his defeat and the Kingdom of Gondor seizing the One Ring and then beginning their slow decline.
Yay. Oh, okay. So tell me this. Like Sauron in the what haven't we been through this with it? Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of my concern is look, this news at least makes me hate the idea less for this series. I'm not sure what it has new to tell, although I'm going to be willing to.
So that's because not a whole bunch of people have read the Silmarillion.
Well, right, I haven't.
So Sauron is not Darth Vader, Anthony. Sauron was Sauron the Deceiver. He presented a fair face. He presented an idea of calm, of unity.
Can I ask you a quick question about that, Ross? Because in Lord of the Rings, Sauron is in many ways just sort of this abstract thing. He's not even really a character.
Yeah.
So are we going to be seeing an actual character in this, do you think?
I think so. Sauron is a much more dynamic character than he was presented as in the movies. When we saw him in the movies, this was a defeated Sauron that was building his power once again. He was evil incarnate. He was corruption in its most pervasive and insidious form. And this is a Sauron that his physical form was banished. It inhabited the Tower of Barad-dûr, and it inhabited the One Ring. This is Sauron before he even forged the first ring.
Okay. Well, I'm going to keep an open mind about it. I just hope they're able to tell us something new.
If they do it right, it is going to be very compelling. Better than anything that they did in Game of Thrones.
Well,
that's another show I never got into.
Oh, Travis!
Like I said, I'm picking.
It's a show I choose not to get into. So.
I'm with Sean.
Picky with
Justin and Jason don't like Lord of the Rings. As much as I disagree, it's fine.
I liked Lord of the Rings, for the record.
Lord of the Rings is great. It's very
it's okay.
I'm just upset Ross didn't even let me get to the best Clerks 2 quote.
Go ahead.
No, I shut it off.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, so let's move over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, news came out that the third Deadpool movie is going to be coming out, and it is solidly set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It will continue to be an R-rated film, unlike the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies.
Surprise!
Surprise, fuckers.
Reactions.
This is my shocked Pikachu face that it's rated R.
I just had this vision of you with Pikachu's face on it, and it was not pretty.
Or better yet, the shocked Deadpool face.
Yeah.
Did we really think that they would make it? I mean, like, Disney's not stupid.
I'm just glad that we're going to get a third Deadpool movie and that he's in the MCU. Instead of
I haven't seen any of the Deadpool movies.
Oh my God, you poor child! You poor child.
See,
I don't know if I need to see Deadpool.
That's where I'll take issue. See, you're a youngin'. You should have at least seen one of the fucking Deadpool movies.
No.
Yes.
I have heard about these movies. I just don't think I would enjoy these. Like, I'm a guy that's pretty casual when it comes to a comic book hero movie. But this, like, something about these movies.
These aren't comic book hero movies. These are like B movie anti-hero movies.
Okay, did you enjoy Cara Dune in The Mandalorian?
I don't know how to answer that. I don't remember the character.
Travis, here's what I'm going to say. It's hard to take your criticism with more than a grain of salt since you haven't even watched one. So watch the first one, which is pretty good. It has the X-Men in it, for goodness sake. How bad could it be?
We get to see it.
What? How bad could it be? Have you seen the X-Men movies as of late?
And it has Proto Adira in it.
It does?
It
Oh,
does.
yeah.
Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yeah. And it has Colossus. Everyone loves the good-natured big brother Metal Man Colossus.
Peter.
Yeah, they love his metal balls, is what it is.
Guys, when it comes to the X-Men, I am very limited in the knowledge there.
He is big metal Russian man. Very caring, very kind. Have you eaten your breakfast today? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
It is.
It is.
Okay, Travis, we need to fill in some of the gaps in your education, clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, next piece of superhero news for you to react to, which
Or
is...
Travis's case, non-reaction.
Well, I don't know, maybe...
Hey, I never criticize the Deadpool movies. I just say I don't think they'd be up my alley.
Well, I would love for you to watch them so then you could criticize them.
I've got other things to criticize.
Okay, right. Okay, so we're going to talk about Supergirl now. I think, as we've reported on earlier, this upcoming season of Supergirl is the last season of Supergirl.
I'm not sad.
And also, we have a new Batwoman, and apparently there had been a Supergirl Batwoman crossover plan, which has now been taken off the books completely thanks to COVID, and which has meant a shorter season. And since Supergirl's 6th and final season is already mapped out, there's no room for a Batwoman crossover, which I think is kind of a shame because it would have been kind of cool since we don't really see a Batmanish thing happen very often.
Yeah, but Nancy's not going completely away because we have a Superman series and it's all in the same universe now. So, I mean, but it's not like a Superman Batwoman crossover. It doesn't have the appeal that a Superman Batwoman.
Without it being Kate Kane,
the series is ending doesn't necessarily mean that the character is going away for good.
Yeah, true, but we know that the actor is.
Not necessarily. I mean, they can always bring her back for cameras or the other shows.
Yeah, maybe.
I think the missed opportunity was her because she had a really good rapport with Ruby Rose in the crossovers and stuff. So I think that the opportunity was missed when Ruby Rose left Batwoman.
That's a good point. Okay. Next piece of upcoming movie news, and Ross, I'm going to toss it to you on this one because you know about this, is the first look that we got at the new Mortal Kombat movie.
I think I only need to see the first Mortal Kombat movie. I've seen the first Mortal Kombat movie.
I have
and that's
zero
all.
interest in this, so have at it, boys.
So we've got a new Mortal Kombat movie coming in 2021. It is rated R. Let's see. It's bringing most of the cast of the original game to it, but it looks like it's going to focus mostly on the rivalry, the deadly rivalry between Hanzo Hisashi and Baihan as also known as Scorpion.
Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Yes. As it is rated R, we're actually going to get the gnarly fatalities, the brutal action, the buckets and buckets and buckets of blood, and all the fun things that Mortal Kombat has been associated with and is infamous with over all the years. And we got our first look at shots from the film today. They look pretty cool. The actors look right in their roles, and I'm really excited to see how this looks.
I want to see an animality. performed by somebody, quite possibly
Now-
the king.
This isn't the first reboot that we got of a Mortal Kombat movie, sort of. Machinima did a high-budget miniseries,
Legacy.
Mortal Kombat's Legacy. They did 2 seasons of it. The first season was great. The second season was okay. So I'm interested to see where they go from here. What do you guys think?
I'll keep an open mind. When it comes to Mortal Kombat, the idea of a rated R Mortal Kombat that is willing to go all the way with its gore and violence, I just don't know what to think of it. Like, Mortal Kombat is a whole lot of fun when I am with friends on a couch and we're all laughing and we're playing this fighting game and we're ripping each other's heads off or separating the torso from someone and just playing a game that my mother would be shocked to know that I enjoyed as much as I did.
Meanwhile, all the developers gave themselves PTSD making all that shit.
Like it's good for a game, like, because it's like interactive, it's fun, it's ridiculous, and I just don't know how well that would translate onto a film medium, honestly. I really don't. I will keep an eye on this, especially since Scorpion and Sub-Zero are 2 of the more interesting characters of Mortal Kombat. But I'm not really like, I don't have, my bar is low right now, let's put it that way, especially considering the fact that most video game movies are not very impressive.
So I have a question, Travis.
Oh wait, Super Mario Brothers
Yes.
is the best ever.
Oh,
Did you
God.
did you see the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movie?
It's been a long time, but yes, I have.
Did you enjoy it?
I remember enjoying it for what it was.
Then you'll enjoy this.
Yes. Anthony, the Raiden is being played by Tadanobu Asano. Let's see. Followers TV series. He was in Midway, The Outsider, for Ragnarok as Hogan. So yeah, it should be pretty good. But yeah, he's no Christopher Lambert. But if you want more Christopher Lambert, Mortal Kombat included a new skin for Raiden in the game that is voiced and looks just like Christopher Lambert.
All right, I gotta say something here. Jason just said that the best video game movie was the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh my God! You're not taking that bait.
You know,
I'm going to say that the best video game movie of all time is Detective Pikachu.
Well, I think we're all in agreement there. It was a pretty damn good movie.
Wait, no.
Sonic.
Pikachu is first based on a card game.
No, it was definitely a video game franchise before it was a card game.
Detective Pikachu is a video game.
Yes.
But Pokemon itself started as a card game.
No, it did not.
No, it didn't.
Really?
It was a video game first.
It was a video
It
game.
was a video game first, and then it evolved into a card game. Because it was a video game, like way back in
Video game, and then it evolved into manga/anime, and then I believe the trading card game came. I'm a 90s kid. I know how this shit worked.
You know how the 90s worked, but you missed. But how much about the 90s?
You can blame my parents for that. I grew up sheltered.
He was sheltered.
So my only concern about this movie, they are introducing a brand new character to kind of be the audience perspective character. So when that happens, it kind of gets odd. I'm looking at Resident Evil for that in that case.
Mhm.
But hey, that movie went on to make a bunch of stupid sequels, so who knows?
True.
The one
Double
thing
Dragon.
I've never seen Resident Evil, but I've seen one part of this movie that is stuck with me, and I don't know why.
Oh, here we go.
I don't know why either. I
It's
hate video games.
I don't know what this scene was or how far along it is in the movie, but there's this vault that they get into, and there's like this laser thing that just cuts everybody up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
I don't know why.
no. The best superhero movie or best video game movie ever, Rampage.
Detective Pikachu.
Rampage.
Detective Pikachu.
Well, it had Dwayne Johnson in it, so it's slightly better by default in that case.
I will say this:
It's
No.
like
you
the
have-
Doom movie.
Hey,
Took me
there's
long
no
enough to give
stupider
it a
video
name
game
out.
movie than Pixels.
that
I
was
haven't
pretty
seen
bad.
Pixels.
That was pretty bad. I did see
That
Pixels.
movie was actually
Yeah.
brought down from having Adam Sandler in it.
You can't get worse than Sonic the Hedgehog.
Warcraft.
Wasn't that bad. Warcraft wasn't that bad. I'm wearing the Warcraft movie shirt right now.
Wow, we can't really tell because you,
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you got
it's
the green screen on.
blocked it out. I will say this, Travis, you have inspired me to go check out the Detective Pikachu.
Oh,
Do it.
here's
I
what
will.
I forgot. Here's what I totally forgot. Wing Commander.
Oh, yes. Wing Commander.
Something crossed
really,
up
really
your butt
bad
this
Killer
week,
Rat the
hey.
animatronics.
This is what happens when we have no shows, guys. I just hijacked the conversation using Google.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
hey,
sure,
for
right?
those that don't know what Wing Commander. Oh
we
my
don't
god!
need to belabor that point. Trust me.
So, welcome to how my brain works constantly, 24/7.
I mean, the Wing Commander theme was, probably about the best part of the whole movie.
yeah, we don't need to
The
talk.
first instance of bullet time.
about it.
No. The best part of Wing Commander is if you take the cutscenes from Wing Commander 3 and play them as a movie, and there's the people do that on YouTube. It's actually a really good story.
Yeah,
And it's
the way
got-
that
they
Mark
did that
Hamill-
with,
yeah,
They did
Mark
that
Hamill
with the Star Trek Starfleet Academy
Yep.
game. They pieced that together.
I got that game.
It's been done for
again.
almost every single video game ever made at this point.
I got that game again recently. They have
Star
it on
Trek
Steam.
Borg.
Yes, that's one.
Final
That's
Unity.
fun one to watch. Yeah,
That'll
Final
keep you
Unity.
occupied for about a week.
Yep.
Okay, we're moving to our next topic, which is, I think, our Disney topic for the week. Now, I don't know how many of you have been. I assume all of us have, at some point in our life, been to either Disney World or Disneyland, or both. No,
No.
Travis, not at all.
No,
Not at all.
me either.
Me neither.
Okay.
I went to Star Trek Experience rather
here's
than
the thing.
going to
Carlos.
Disney. So
See, here's the thing, Carlos. A whole bunch of us grew up poor.
I was poor.
I grew up poor. but
Okay,
I just-
Carlos, look. I had the choice to either go to Star Trek Experience for my 21st birthday or go to Disney. Guess which one I picked?
And
Well,
guess
Star
what?
Trek
you
Experience.
did
Anymore.
right choice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was poor, but we did live within driving distance of Disney World or Disneyland. So
My friend does the same thing.
That made it
He's
easier.
right on Disneyland's front or like back steps, basically.
I was one city over. So yeah, it was a big deal. Anyway, so as you may know, Disneyland and Disney World have rides that get phased out and replaced with other things. And there was one that was in Disneyland originally. It was the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride, and you boarded a submarine that looked like the Nautilus, and you go down and cruise around underwater and see fish and stuff. And that was removed from the Disney World version of it was removed from the park. And this guy on YouTube has created an AR version of or a virtual version of this ride that you can check out and take the ride that you, Travis, have never gotten the chance to take. When I was a kid, I loved that submarine ride.
Yeah, because
I'm
that's
sure
the
I
only
would've-
submarine.
Go ahead, Jason.
When you're a kid, you don't get a ride on a submarine unless you go to Disney World and you get on the 20,000 Leagues, then you get on the Nautilus. And then you've battled big, huge space or undersea squid and all that stuff. I mean, like, it was magical.
I'm sure it was a great ride, and I'm a guy who loves the ocean, underwater life. I fish keep, for crying out loud. So, like, I'm sure that this would be a very
I'm not sure why you did that, Ross, but it was hilarious.
Mariner.
Mariner?
Oh yes,
yeah.
submarine, of course.
I'm sure that it was a great ride, and
Well, Well, now you can experience it, is what I'm saying to you, Travis, without having. Yes, we know, without having to travel, or well, it no longer exists physically. So now you can experience it.
Well, you can go to Disneyland and ride a version of the ride, but it's Finding Nemo.
Yeah, they changed it to Nemo.
From Captain Nemo
To
to Finding Nemo.
Clownfish Nemo.
I like that movie.
Like I said, these
Love
rides
that
often get repurposed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the time Universal took down Jaws for a second Harry Potter land.
I'm okay with that.
Ugh.
I'm sorry. I think Harry Potter is a better franchise than Jaws.
Well, I mean, as far as a franchise is concerned, I'll agree because I mean, like I haven't seen the Jaws sequels, and I don't need to.
You don't need to.
No, you totally need to see Jaws 3D.
Oh, well, that just gets
No.
Sharknado. Have fun.
Jaws 3D
I've
was
seen
filmed,
Sharknado.
Jaws 3D was filmed at SeaWorld of Florida. My old boss was in like these white like she was old by the time she was my boss, but she was like in Jaws 3D like as one of the girls like in short shorts and stuff. So like I worked at SeaWorld and then I got
lived until you've seen Jaws 13.
And then I got the job at Universal working on the Jaws ride.
Wow. Well, ouch.
And then they tore down the ride for second stupid Harry Potter land.
I'm okay with the Harry Potter land, which I haven't been to yet. So
I have.
There you go.
Potter. I that's a franchise that's kind of dead to me.
Oh,
I made it through book 5.
Oh,
I made it through movie 4.
but you're going in timeout.
What do you mean I'm going in timeout? Harry Potter is just like, you want to know what killed Harry Potter for me?
What?
I was one of the poor, unfortunate souls that had a friend that was like, guess what? X dies in book 6. As soon as he spoiled that, I was like, well, my interest in this franchise is dead because, like, I just have no motivation to want to read this book anymore.
There's nothing
And I tried.
inherently wrong with Harry Potter. It's just your friend spoiled it for you.
Yeah, he spoiled it for me.
Well, you know, I trust that you and Lane can get beyond that.
No, we've tried.
Have you?
Yes, we have.
Really?
Yes, we have.
Lane, has he really tried? Is he lying?
He's giving you the look, man.
Yep, he's lying. Yeah, we know he's lying. We know. Okay.
Okay. All right. This next piece of news, I think that Ross, this was one you found about HBO Max.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about that. HBO Max apparently it's guaranteeing revenue for its straight-to-streaming films since, as we know, they announced that all of their 2021 Warner Brothers releases are going to be released simultaneously in theaters wherever theaters are open. They aren't around here, and on HBO Max. Shoot, Ross.
IGN reporting from Bloomberg says that multiple reports are saying that Warner Brothers is working deals for new payments to filmmakers and their crews to give them the bonus payouts that they would normally get for box office success. So, quoting from Bloomberg, anyone entitled to a bonus will receive one at half the box office revenue that would normally be needed to trigger a payout. And if more theaters close down, the threshold will fall further. The stipulation called the COVID-19 multiplier. Those would normally need to participate in profits from box office receipts would continue to do so, as well as benefit from on-demand online sales. So it looks like Warner, AT&T has heard the complaints from filmmakers and is taking steps to placate them. I don't know if it's going to be effective or not, or if it's even satisfactory to them, but it looks like these are unconfirmed. Hard to say. I'll look up the Bloomberg article real quick.
Bloomberg usually has pretty good sources, so
yeah.
So I would think.
Their headline is Warner Brothers has come up with a new plan to compensate filmmakers during the pandemic. Treat every movie like a box office smash.
Huh.
That's logical.
You know, the only it's not really an issue that I have with this, but the context for this is incredible to me, which is basically this is a big move, obviously, as you point out, and it's one that's made with it's a resignation to the reality that movies in theaters, at least for the next year, are basically fucked. They're making this decision in January for the whole rest of the year, and probably into next year, because it's going to cover stuff that's being produced this year as well. It's just this acknowledgement of the reality of this pandemic that is kind of sobering when you look at it this way.
I mean, we may not even see stuff return to normal this year. It may take until sometime next year to get everything settled, just because of the shortfalls that this administration has caused in vaccine distribution. It's getting everything to whatever new normal we're going to find ourselves in.
No,
First movie the article talks about is Godzilla versus King Kong, which was just
I am
delayed.
looking forward to that one.
It was just
That's pretty
delayed
fun.
till
I think-
March.
I think the reality is that we've spent
Oh,
12 months.
wait. I knew it was coming out in March.
You guys can do that offline. I want to hear what Jason has to say.
We've spent 12 months in our homes. We're probably going to spend another 3 or 4 at the least before, vaccines get distributed to a point to where we can start to reopen things like theaters up. I mean, that's 18 months of being a hermit or not being able to do these things and getting used to watching big production movies at home. And I think that there's going to be a natural hesitancy towards going to the theaters, especially if we continue to see civil unrest this year and things of that nature. It isn't just COVID. It's just there's a lot that's going to be at play here that might discourage people to go to the theater. And I think HBO and, at the end of the day, Warner Brothers is they're challenged with distributing content, but at the same time they have this avenue. And I think that any of the theaters that aren't gonna, or any of the studios that aren't gonna take advantage of their streaming platforms to be able to buy release things like this it's gonna be the new normal. Much like Napster forced record labels to move away from CDs distribution to online distribution. I mean, again, I think it's just going to continue this push away from theaters, and theaters will become more of a novel experience.
A premium experience.
Yeah, a premium novel experience.
Because, I mean, we see a lot of them now getting these lounge chairs. Hell, some of them have beds. It just...
I haven't seen any with that.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that have beds set up to where...
Don't go to those kinds of theaters, Justin.
Yeah,
No,
that's where you run into Paul Rubens.
Well, yeah, obviously.
It's also where you end up sleeping through movies.
But, yeah, well, I mean, you got these theaters are set up where you have people wait on you during the whole movie. I mean, turning into a premium experience. That's the only way these places
have
will
you
survive.
have you done that? Have you done like Studio Movie Grill or like?
Yeah,
no.
It's incredible. It's incredible to sit there. I'm thirsty. I'm going to push a button, and they're going to bring me my refill.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, that would make, it worth spending that amount of money to go to the theater. That would make it worth it. That would be considered a premium experience. It is for those who can afford to do that. But, I think we're going to see a return to normal when it comes to theaters. Not totally. Not for a while yet.
Yeah, there's still a lot of factors in the air for sure. Okay, well, Ross, thanks for finding that article, because it's I like that we occasionally talk about the future of movies in theaters, because I'm hoping there is one myself. Okay, and another little news tidbit that I think is interesting. The Quibi library of content apparently has been acquired by Roku. Since most of us didn't care about Quibi, do we care about it being part of Roku now?
As long as it doesn't kill Roku, that's fine.
It's not going to kill Roku. Roku's already established. The point is, there was actually some decent looking content on Quibi that they didn't market at all. They marketed the app, but not the content. But when you actually look at some of the stuff they made, like a new season of Reno 911, is that right?
Probably.
Okay. Or the sex doll show, and a a lot of the other interesting things they did. Yeah,
That was the most interesting show on there, and it was awful. No. That show doesn't even deserve the Police Academy Blue Oyster Club music. That show was so bad.
the point is, the content gets to live on. People can actually watch it and see if it's good, and Quibi can stew in its own failure because of marketing.
Okay, so here's a question. First, well, before I ask my question, Son, were you going to say something?
It's basically Quibi's been bought by the thing that now exists on every fucking TV that you buy.
Except it doesn't. Like, I don't have a Roku box. I
literally just went out to Walmart to get a new TV because my mother's broke, and every single one of them came with Roku included.
At Walmart, sure. But that's not the only place people buy TVs.
Yeah, see, at Walmart, Roku's their brand. Roku and On is their brand.
Well, I mean, my point is...
about, like, the Sony TVs and the Philips TVs all had Roku on them, too.
Yeah, because they're sold at Walmart.
Yeah,
Look, I have to go back to Best Buy to get a new computer. You know what I'll do? I'll go and check their TVs. If they all have Roku included on them as well, I will come back here and report that too.
Okay.
Yeah, there's plenty of TVs that come with Amazon Fire installed. So,
And what's the other one?
Well, there's Apple TV, but
Yeah.
that's a box as well. Anyway, I'm just while it's an interesting idea, I guess what I'm skeptical about here is Roku is not a content maker. It is a platform. It's an electronic platform for other
Netflix.
No, Netflix creates original content and acquires content.
It created original content after first acquiring and distributing other people's content.
So basically it looks like Roku has bought it because they have their own free ad-supported channel.
Oh, they really?
Yeah.
I have zero interest in an ad-supported channel from Roku.
Yeah, hold on, let me see here.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-Roku. I mean, Roku offers a lot of content and it does it. But it's a platform. It's not, so I'm not sure. Do they have the expertise to really capitalize on this content? I mean, I guess
according to this ABC News article I'm looking at, the Roku channel includes more than 40,000 free movies and shows and 150 free live linear television channels.
So it's Pluto.
It's Pluto. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder though, like how many people buy Roku for Roku's content? They're buying Roku to get access.
Who buys a Roku?
Lots of people do.
Roku TVs.
Yeah, and people buy the boxes too. I mean,
yeah, like everything at Walmart, all their TVs are Roku now.
I'm an Apple snob.
You know what?
We know.
Oh yeah, I am too. I have an Apple TV. Just
snob.
Right over there. But I also have a Fire Stick, which I travel with, so I can watch Fire stuff. But those are just,
I have a Fire Stick too, Carlos. We call it a lighter.
That's what she said.
Stop it.
I've got a Fire Stick too, but it's
your penis.
You guys
if your penis is fired, that might be an STD, not a Fire Stick.
That's what she said.
Fortunately, they just make you chug antibiotics. You don't get the swab anymore.
I'm totally okay with no swab. Okay, let's go into our
They
final.
need all the swabs for COVID tests.
Isn't that what they call
We broke Carlos.
No, you didn't break me. You didn't break me. I broke myself. Swab, because the Navy they call semen swabs, right? And then I realized semen
swabbies.
Oh, swabbies. Okay.
You nuts.
Thank you. I now am at ease. Okay.
That's what she said.
That's what.
But
God
once
damn
upon a
it.
time, I was a seaman.
Yes, you were the best kind.
In
what
the
have
raw
we-
tube.
What have we been watching this week?
And yes, I was once stored in a long, hard tube packed to the brim with other seamen, often stacked three
This
tall.
is-
Lane,
this
I
is-
don't know what they're talking about. I'll explain when you're older.
Yeah, Lane. You're not missing anything, Lane. Okay, let's find out what we have been watching this week, and we're going to start with Travis and Lane. Okay, you don't need to laugh right into the microphone. You can laugh on your own. Travis and Lane, what have you been watching this week?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to embark on a wonderful journey through the bottom of the barrel of cinema. You see, since we're in a content drought, I have asked myself what I want to do to preoccupy myself. And yesterday, I was just browsing through YouTube, and I came across this thing. And suddenly the idea came into my head.
And what was that idea, Travis?
Why don't I just sit down weekly? Stop it. Why don't I just sit down weekly and watch a B-movie disaster movie and just see how low these things go? So I hope you will join me every week from here on out until we get something worth talking about again, as I sit down and watch just the best disaster movies ever made. And the disaster movie that I watched this week is a wonderful, wonderful cinematic masterpiece called, and I quote, Magma Volcanic Disaster.
It's a bit on the nose, isn't it?
Oh man, like it's just so like this B movie stars two people who are actually I recognize from 24. I don't remember what character the guy plays. He was Jack Bauer's boss, and he dies in season 2 after he gets radiation poisoning and he sacrifices
George
himself.
Mason.
Yeah, Mason, that's the guy. He's in this, and Michelle Dessler is in this, and they're in a struggling relationship marriage thing, and they don't share a single scene together until the very end of the film, and it's really awkward, and they have no chemistry, and yet they save their marriage somehow. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, this movie is about a volcanic doomsday, and good God, it's just like before this.
So it was bad.
Yes, it was bad.
Was it Sharknado bad, or was it
Sharknado
Battlefield
was
Earth
better
bad?
than this movie. Sharknado is better than this movie. Magma Volcanic Disaster is basically a story in which this is direct dialogue from the movie. The planet Earth suffers double burrito indigestion, and volcanoes are just going to start erupting and exterminating the Earth. And the way they go across showing this, the way they go across solving this makes absolute
is bad.
It's terrible. It makes no sense. And this movie should feel bad. My final thoughts leaving this movie was I didn't realize, yes, it's worse than Battlefield Earth.
Wow.
I didn't realize that it was possible to make a volcano movie worse than 10.5 Apocalypse.
Oh my God. Why did you mention that horrible movie?
Have you seen 10.5 Apocalypse?
No desire.
Well, this movie somehow did it. Like, it provides more closure than 10.5 Apocalypse, but somehow is still worse than 10.5 Apocalypse. That said, there are some brilliant moments that I had to laugh out loud within this movie, particularly people melting in lava. Like I kid you not, there is a scene towards the end of the movie.
It was bad.
There's a scene towards the end of the movie where Michelle Dessler is trying to evacuate the Yellowstone campground, and this ranger is getting all up in her grill like, hey, I'm over at Old Faithful and everything's fine here. And he's like with these 3 university students, and they're there. There's just 3 university students. We never see these students again until they're running away from a lava flow. They find themselves trapped by fire, and they're just like kind of standing like, what do we do? And then the lava just burns them up. And that's the scene. Like, that is all that we see in this movie.
About a scene like that, it's real disturbing, man.
It's quite amusing. Like, if you watch this movie, which I know you guys will never watch this movie.
Never watch this movie.
If anybody ever watch, it's free on YouTube, Magma Volcanic Disaster.
There you go.
If you watch this, it definitely has like that so bad it's good.
So let me get this right. You are not watching The Expanse because you're watching this.
Hell yeah.
You're not. Okay, and you call yourself.
I have a suggestion for you then. Look up Mockbuster. These are the low budget B movie knockoffs of blockbuster films.
Well, that's kind of what I'm going to be doing. Like, I will, like, as much as I hate Asylum Studios, I will probably be covering Asylum films.
Yes. The first job I got after I got out of the Navy was working at a Family Video. Rest in peace, by the way. The chain officially closed down this last week. But I loved going through when I got off and picking out all the dumb B movies and knockoff movies out there. And I was much more aware of them after I started working there. And I've got a list of some for you right now that you and everybody else can look up. Atlantic Rim.
Okay, I'm going to suggest you email that to him.
Yes, I will.
Because I'd rather hear what you watched this week, Ross.
I'll keep it short. Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and say this. Next week, Jody Wheeler, I'm coming for you. I'm going to watch City on Fire Heat Wave next week.
My fault, Jody.
I would totally be okay watching a Jody Wheeler movie just so that I could bust on Jody Wheeler after I got done watching it.
Well,
now, in Jody's defense, he wrote the script. They bought the script. They ruined the script. So
wait! No! Don't take away our fun, Carlos.
He did not. No, go ahead and make fun of him. I'm all for that.
Okay. As long as you realize what's coming, because you did this. You brought it to our attention, so this is your fault.
My attention. He brought it.
But you brought it to our attention.
It's a new tradition.
You brought it to our attention, so this is your fault.
I will be making the list.
So we're going to go next to Sun and find out what Sun watched this week.
So, I've not necessarily fallen into a YouTube rabbit hole so much as I just randomly come across things every other day or so. There's this content creator called, his name is Searmore, I believe. Basically, he goes into VR chat and has conversations with people. One of his most recent ones was talking with an Air Force gunner, about his PTSD from the war, and how it's affected his life afterwards. And it's been fascinating watching these videos because it just seems outrageous and crazy because they're doing it in VR chat. And yet they're having these real life interactions in VR chat that are more akin to the, you remember the NPR thing that they were doing with, Real Voices or whatever a couple of years ago. It's a lot like that in effect. one of the videos talks about a VR church. There's actually a VR church.
Really?
A Christian church, yeah, in VR. And they're fully staffed and everything.
That means they could have Jesus show up.
I guess so. They do baptisms in VR. So, there was another one talking about the deaf communities that are actually growing in VR chat, and how VR chat itself now has its own evolving form of sign language because of how VR chat doesn't have the best of articulation when it comes to hand movement.
Mm-hmm.
So they're having to make, these new signs for VR chat specifically. And these are conversations I don't think I would have ever come across if, ever,
How did you find this rabbit hole?
It's just, it was just recommended to me on YouTube.
All right.
YouTube can be a curious place.
It sure can. Okay, Beard Fussé.
Really, started watching Yellowstone. I think that's probably what I would say.
Oh, that's been on my list.
So we started that this past week.
Kevin Costner, right?
No, Kevin Costner.
Isn't Kevin Costner in Yellowstone? The series? You're talking about the series, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you're thinking about the movie Yellowstone has him in it, aren't you?
Oh, it is Kevin Costner. Why was I thinking it was Randy Quaid or Dennis Quaid?
Oh,
I get Kevin Costner and Dennis Quaid mixed up.
Wow. I get them mixed up. Anyway, that's what you've been watching. What do you think?
Yeah. It's okay. It's pretty good. I mean, I'm just starting. We just started this past week, so we're like 2.5 episodes in. We're taking breaks for like our, This Is Us and all of our regular TV programming that we watch. So Randall met his mom.
I just watched that today.
Yeah, we did. We did kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't cried this season yet. So
I cried when he met his mom in the
lake.
In the lake.
Yeah, it was touching, but like still nothing.
Have you no heart? And said Beard Fussé.
No, not like, I thought last episode where Kate was facing her ex-boyfriend, that was more touching in my opinion, but
See, that one didn't work for me as well because it felt like I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it felt like it was written by a Revenge of the Woker. It felt like a therapy session where they have you role play what you would say to your abuser. And it came across about that authentically.
I could see that.
It just felt like jargon coming out of her mouth. So I like the concept.
Oh, it felt like a struggle session, huh?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward next week. It looks like Kevin's racing back to
Yes. Madison is having the baby. Okay, so This Is Us fans. All right.
I wasn't quite finished.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rod. Go ahead.
Because there was one thing that
nothing,
kind of.
So I assumed that was nothing.
Well, no, I didn't watch it, but there were other things that occurred during the week that I would like to share.
Oh, okay.
Soon may the weatherman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tugging is done, we'll take our leave and go.
Okay, he fell into the sea shanty hole.
Yes, sea shanties have been everywhere this week. I can't tell you how many articles about.
We should do one of those one of these days.
No, we shouldn't.
Yes, we should. Absolutely.
I mean,
look what you broke Travis again.
I used to sing a lot just for my own joy, and the Navy kind of beat the Los Angeles in particular beat it out of me for a little while. So I resolved to sing for myself a bit more often. So
well, I think that's good.
The beginning.
I do think that's good.
But that just seems so odd that like being on a ship in the Navy would beat singing.
Anti-sea
It
shanty.
would be anti-sea shanty.
The Los Angeles was a very miserable place where people fed off of other people's happiness in order to feel just a little bit happier about themselves. I was
So
a very
it's
happy
basically
guy
the
on the
Sims
ship,
for
so
Star
I was
Trek.
preyed on mercilessly.
It just seems like that's like,
So I
like
just
that if
withdrew
you were,
into myself.
if you were trying to build esprit de corps in the Navy on a ship, sea shanties would be the way to do it.
What is this esprit de corps you talk about?
Oh,
Such a concept is alien to the mariner.
Oh,
Joy only comes from making other people miserable.
there it's only esprit de corpse.
Yeah.
all right.
Okay, is that it for this week, Ross? It was a
Well,
love.
I also
scene.
got a source book that I've been waiting on for BattleTech, so I'm actually going to start planning tabletop campaigns here soon. So I'm happy about that.
Okay, excellent to hear. Okay, Stalwart Justin.
Let's see, I started Star Wars Battlefront 2 playthrough this week, which I got through the first half of the campaign, and I'm starting on the second one. Other than, the usual Discovery, and I'm watching Seek Quest DS3 along with Jason, just because that show rocks. I don't care what anyone says. I was going to go watch Babylon 5, but it looks like they took it off Amazon Prime, the assholes.
I think
Other than
Babylon 5 is coming on HBO Max.
good, they need to hurry up. Other than that, other than playing Battlefront 2, I really haven't done too much. I'm waiting for the Elite Dangerous update to come, and that won't be until about March. As we have found out. So other than that, just trying to get through this content drought. Now we don't have Star Trek for the next few weeks.
Few weeks? You mean many months? Many months, unless, please God,
Many
I'm
moons.
saying few weeks because I'm hoping that we'll get a short trek. Because if we remember last year, it was right about this time that we caught wind of short treks. But because of COVID, I don't know if we're going to get them this year.
I don't know. Usually they shoot them alongside the show, so
Yeah. So hopefully
this time too.
it'll be nice. We might get lucky.
I'm hoping they've just kept it a secret and they're going to surprise us during this drought.
Maybe an all animated short trek. Wouldn't that be something?
They already did one.
More like all of them animated.
Oh, I'm not that into that. Okay, for me, I think the big thing is, well, we already talked about the latest episode of This Is Us, but I actually did a rewatch of several season 3 episodes of Deep Space Nine, including the one.
Thank you, Anthony.
Was that for your sea shanty?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was just the refrain.
So I watched the Sanctuary Riots 2-parter. I watched the one where they finally met the founders and figured out they were, and it was, I haven't watched those episodes in, God, it's been at least 10 years, so it was kind of fun to.
Season 3 is a very underrated season for DS.
It really is. I actually really liked that season. I always tend to think of it really picking up in season 4, but season 3 was a very good season. I recommend it. What
I would say, if you haven't watched it yet, Improbable Cause and the Dice Cast is another real good 2-parter for you in season 3.
In season 3, that's 3 2-parters in one season. That's kind of amazing. That's amazing for Star Trek. Okay, and then then I watched The Stand, the first 3 episodes. They have 5 out so far, so you can check that out if you want. I actually kind of like it. In some ways, it's a little slow. And Whoopi Goldberg doesn't say very much, so it's not a very compelling character. But anyway, I'll probably finish watching it. And then sometimes to put myself to sleep, I will put on like nature documentaries and or National Geographic specials or whatever. And so I was having a hard time falling asleep the other day. So I try to find something. You don't want to find something that's too interesting because then you'll wake up and watch it. You want something that's boring and puts you to sleep. And so I thought I found the perfect one. It was called X-Ray Earth. It's on Disney Plus, under their National Geographic section, and it's basically like showing you the interior of the Earth under spots that are in danger of being destroyed by volcanic eruption and or earthquakes. And so I thought, oh, that's the perfect thing to put me to sleep, until I realized 5 minutes in that it was mostly about the Pacific Northwest, and I live in a doomed part of the country.
Dude, Mount Rainier is it's a volcano. I am very much.
This isn't even as much about the volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest. It's about the subduction zone.
Yeah, the subduction zone outside the Pacific Ocean over there.
Yeah, we're deep shit, man.
One mega thrust earthquake, and you guys are in for a world of hurt.
Crater.
And people talk shit about the San Andreas Fault.
Yeah, no, we're in
and the New Madrid's got you all beat. Whenever it goes, it's going to take the whole Midwest with it.
I'm just saying, I am a volcano / earthquake enthusiast. So when you start talking about this shit with me, I will go on a tangent.
It would have kept you awake too, which
sure
I wanted to fall asleep, and I didn't get to.
I love the Pacific
Northwest.
I was
up till 6 in the morning.
I have been to Mount St. Helens.
You know, Carlos, if you need to put yourself to sleep, just put on any Alec Peters live stream, and you're doomed to fall asleep instantly.
No, if you need to fall asleep, put on Magma Volcanic Disaster. That'll put you to sleep.
All right. I don't think I'm going to do that to myself. But that does bring us to the end of this week's show. Join us again next Friday, January 22nd, as we dive into that week's Super Geek news. Thank you to my fellow hosts for your wit and wisdom for the week. We will be back. Of course, please stick around if you're interested in our weekly post-show Florida Man segment. We'll see if now that we're past the holidays, there's been a pickup in the number of Florida Man stories. And we'll go from there. So thank you all. Thank you, Lane, for keeping us in, on track. Yeah, you two are adorable when you look at each other. I'm just saying. Okay, so thank you for those of you who are sticking around for Florida Man. We'll start that up in just a second. Live long and prosper, guys.
Jason, are you having Kirk and Superman golf?
Yeah.
That's a perfect for me to get out on. You guys have a good night.
All right, thanks, Travis.
All right, now you behave with Lane. Now, he told us all types of stuff about you before the stream, so you need to behave.
He was just funning you. Bye, Lane.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. I assume we are now each of us bringing up our favorite Florida Man stories for the week.
Oh, yes.
Who would like to begin this week?
Florida Man.
Okay, so I have to share this one with you guys first because I want you to take a look at the mugshot of the Florida Man in question.
Oh, God.
Okay. So there's the link. The article itself reads, Florida man nearly sets himself on fire while trying to torch his own home. So obviously Florida man.
Florida Man.
But look at that mugshot. Look at that mugshot. Does that not look like a drugged up Vic Manania?
Oh my God.
Hard to tell with the watermark sheriff's badge covering his face.
I don't see it. But then again, all you white people look alike to me.
Here's one. Florida man Dave Bautista offers 20 grand reward for maggots who defaced manatee.
Oh, the humanity.
No, the manatee that someone wrote Trump on the back of the manatee. They carved it in the back of the and it's back.
No. They didn't carve the word Trump. They scraped the algae off the manatee to say Trump. Justin, quit playing with your microphone.
He said,
All right. Florida man bet 100 on a Trump win. Now he's being sued for not paying up.
yeah.
Following the example there, it looks like.
What do you mean? Trump won.
Florida man.
That soon to be evicted Florida man isn't paying his former legal advisor.
Yeah, soon to be Florida man.
Florida man.
Maybe. I hear he might be going to leave the country to what's that one?
Who cares? Florida man accused of throwing pancake batter at woman arrested.
Florida man.
Florida man accused of setting his own truck on fire to give deputies something to do.
Oh, we covered that
Florida man.
minutes ago.
Florida man leads deputies on 150-mile-an-hour motorcycle chase.
Didn't we do that one?
I don't think so. That was a
Florida
different
man.
chase. That was a different chase.
Or it's Florida man. I mean, we're bound to get a lot of the same ones because
So here's actually something that's a little different for our Florida man segment. Florida man actually being the victim of a story for once. Florida man attacked by woman with tits out in elevator. So far, nobody knows who the woman is or where she's from, so we don't know if she's a Florida woman or not.
Here's a twofer.
Florida man.
Here's a twofer. Florida woman kills Florida man boyfriend who made tomahawk threat.
Florida woman.
Okay, here's a good one. This is from Twitter, and I put the link to it in our chat. Drunk Florida man steals Key West tiki bar boat, takes it for a joyride, and their pictures.
Yes, I see.
Oh my God.
That is hilarious. Looks like they're having a good old time on that tiki boat.
Yeah, it's Florida man shit.
Enjoy it. I got another Florida victim one.
Wait. One quick last thing about that story. The source for it is a website called, I'm not kidding, Bro Bible.
Well, I mean, they have Lad Bible, so...
Why not?
Here's another Florida victim story. Florida man can't go to bar. Massive sinkhole opens outside Florida sports bar.
Oh, that's just so...
Florida man.
Here's an update to last week's story. Florida man accused in capital lectern theft allowed to go free on bond.
Oh, wow.
That's one.
He was a Florida dad.
He got bailed out. That was like a $1 million bail right there.
Well, no, and he'll be on Florida Bounty Hunter.
So Florida opening up vaccine registration to anyone 65 and up with no proof of residency required means lots of Florida men and women will be getting their vaccine in Florida, but not be Florida man.
They'll just be man.
And they're opening the vaccine center at Disney, of all places.
They won't be the men. They'll be vaccinated.
That's true. Okay, here's one that I don't know why this is funny. Florida man wearing gloves steals all the chicken wings at 7-Eleven. Gloves.
Florida man.
Well, at least he was sanitary, right?
No, if you're going to steal
guess
chicken
so.
wings, why would they be 7-Eleven chicken wings?
That's
That's
They're like the worst.
That's stealing 7-Eleven chicken wings is like putting Dr. Katica on your adversary lists.
I am telling on you.
I'm sorry. I got you and Jason on that one. I was like that. Yeah. Just because I know it irritates Travis.
So, I have the most Second Amendment Florida man story possible. Florida man drives military-style tank through residential streets.
Yes.
My.
Apparently, this was in Palmetto Bay, so...
Whew. Where'd he get the tank?
I don't know.
And
Yeah, where does one get it?
is there a civilian style tank?
You can
They
get
made
A lot of local
military style
police
tanks.
tanks.
Florida man.
you can get tanks with the cannons demilled. You can buy surplus tanks with the
That's still a military style tank. There is no
Okay,
civilian
so-
application for a tank.
So it's apparently a British grade tank.
That's
What is this? What the article says?
A lot of local police departments have gotten surplus tanks from the military
why.
because
Why not?
There's no
Uh,
purpose to a tank unless you're assaulting a fortified position.
and
Well, look at what happened on the
exactly.
set.
Yeah, that's exactly one of the reasons why police departments are not. It
Eligible.
creates this. No, they are eligible. That's the problem.
Oh,
It's because they tend now to think of things more like sieges rather than keeping the peace. And
Right.
you know,
Anyway, a Florida man arrested after a crime spree of small businesses.
Florida man.
He broke into a 7-Eleven, a Chinese restaurant, and all in the same car over a course of 4 days.
wow.
They
Okay,
are not right in Florida.
here's one from the Pensacola News Journal. A Florida man was arrested in Pensacola after he allegedly became upset when told he could not film a dancer at a gentleman's club and ended up fighting the staff. That does not sound very gentlemanly to me.
Florida man. Oh,
I'm skipping all of the child pornography.
Florida man.
there's a
There's a
lot
lot of child
There's a lot
There's a lot of those.
Florida teacher sprays student with disinfectants after mask dispute.
Florida teacher smell jobless.
Florida man kicked chicken like a field goal, deputies say.
I like that one. Okay, this one's just plain weird from Polk County, Florida. Florida men, 2 of them are arrested for stealing human heads from grave sites.
That's Polk County, Florida for you.
That's Florida.
That's Florida necromancer for you.
Didn't we have another weird one from Polk County, Florida, a couple weeks back? Something similar.
It's
It's dead people in Polk County. It just seems to be a running theme. They love playing with their dead.
So 50 grand will buy you a civilian T-72 Russian battle tank.
There you go. Crush it.
I kind of want one.
No, no, you do not, Ross.
They're
Kinda. The maintenance on that thing would be insane.
well, and the gas efficiency not so great.
Yeah, that too.
No, but imagine like going out to the desert with that thing and just
And frying inside.
shelling a few things down the line.
Did you,
Unless it has a great-
okay, have you ever been inside of a tank?
No, but I mean,
They're like an oven.
Yeah.
You're literally sitting inside of a metal oven.
yeah, but they did it in Desert Storm. I mean, if I can blow shit up, I mean, it'd be fun.
Mhm.
Okay.
Florida man bitten by a shark walked home profusely bleeding.
Oh, we covered that one last week.
Did we? I wasn't sure about that one.
All right, that's another Florida man that's got bitten by a shark. That was walking home profusely because, well, we know Florida men are not smart.
Oh, there's the tank
Magic
story. I
being
see it.
included.
His purpose to intimidate or show off. Okay. Ah, okay. That's why he was overcompensating.
I just want to blow shit up and run stuff over.
And by the
Ugh.
way, folks, Jason used to be a Florida man, so if he wants to blow stuff up and run stuff over, this is why.
Florida soprano uses her powerful voice to scream at cops at the Capitol.
There's a lot of anti-cop stuff that happens in Florida. A Florida man stomps roof of police SUV for an Instagram video.
Dumbass.
Yeah, Florida. Florida's
Free.
yeah, Florida's Florida.
Perfect place for somebody to go whenever their presidency is up in a week. Of all the
going
other
to-
crazies.
He's going to Dubai. He's going to UAE.
Do we have a?
Wait till,
Huh?
I don't think they'll fund him.
Sure they will. He
To
can
be
say all he's gonna do is say I'm going to UAE. He can order Air Force One and take him there, and then come Wednesday at noon, he's now Citizen Trump, and UAE doesn't have an extradition treaty with the United States.
Then Air Force One doesn't have to take him there.
Well, they can take him there, but they won't be able to bring him back.
I would be surprised if they let Air Force One out of the country with the person who just stopped being president.
He's supposed to be having a going away ceremony at the same time as the inauguration.
Seriously?
yeah.
At
He's
Andrews Air Force Base.
so, yeah.
All right, I got a couple terrible ones. Florida woman has abandoned 3 babies in apartment complexes since 2016.
Oh.
And- Florida man abandoned child on roadside because he thought the boy might be gay.
Oh.
See,
Dumbass.
I
You know, the more-
intentionally skipped over those.
Yeah, okay. You know, the more you read into Florida, the more I hate Florida and everybody in it.
Oh, there's garbage going on like that all over the world, man. It's not just
Yeah, I know, but I just makes me dislike Florida even more.
I love Florida.
Florida man barricaded himself and shot at SWAT team on Christmas morning. Body cam released.
Logical.
Okay, here's one that you should be worried about, Jason. Florida man goes to Utah to have sex with girl under age 14.
Ugh.
So
Oh, Carlos.
I'm only bringing that up because he's in Utah. And
Carlos.
it's horrible. They're like, no state.
Carlos. Bad joke. Bad
It's not a
joke.
joke. It was not a joke. I wasn't saying it as a joke. I'm saying Florida man's coming to Utah.
Yeah, lots of stinking Utah child porn stuff out here.
Really?
Okay. Here's a more positive one. Our Florida man hit 700,000 subscribers. That's the Florida man
Man.
subreddit.
That's the Florida man what?
Subreddit.
Oh, subreddit.
Where I get all my Florida man stories from. So yeah, good for them.
Yeah, I do Google News for mine.
I'm surprised that they don't have their own YouTube channel.
Okay, so
Where do you read out?
the Florida man story of the guy who was robbing graves. Apparently, he was robbing the graves of veterans because they quote unquote have stronger spirits.
Oh, yeah.
Religious.
Oh.
That's hilarious.
Florida man drives an airboat down city streets, knocking over trash cans while shooting off fireworks. Threatens to kill arresting officer.
Whoa, what was he dragging?
He was driving an airboat down city streets, knocking over trash.
We covered that one last week.
Oh,
I
really?
remember the airboat, yeah.
Oh, here's a subreddit called WTF Florida. Florida man dresses up as Rambo, shoots up bar, and still gets ass kicked.
Okay.
There's more details on this grave robber.
Oh
Mhm.
God.
Apparently, he was also a bank robber,
I hope he doesn't get the two mixed up.
and the veterans whose graves he was pillaging were black veterans.
Oh.
Yes.
Jeez.
Florida
By the
man
way-
tries to rob business until he sees he's on camera.
I just saw that one.
And then he stops.
Florida man freed from jail because of coronavirus killed the next day.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, this is a good Florida man story. 27-year-old Florida man scratches off $1 million at the smoke shop.
Aw,
Good for him.
What a great place to get a lottery ticket. That smoke shop that's slowly killing you.
By the way, Florida man, if you're listening, take the payments. You're paying less tax.
She's not wrong.
Florida man hops in a
yeah.
garbage can being arrested. Police helicopter films it.
Florida woman, middle school teacher, found asleep in car with meth on school night.
Jesus. Okay, off topic. I'm curious. How did you guys? In what form did you guys receive your $600 stimulus payment?
Direct deposit.
Direct
Direct
deposit.
deposit.
Didn't qualify.
I got mine in one of those stupid little debit cards, Visa debit cards. I don't know why. The first one they direct deposited in my bank. I don't know why they didn't do this one.
But that's because you're a senior citizen, Carlos. They did it to confuse you.
I'm not technically one yet.
They should have put it in the account that you're
Yeah, the one that they always do. They have my bank information. Anyway,
I mean that's what they do with mine, which was really surprising because I have my bank account. They put it in my account where my Social Security deposit checks go to, which is odd because nothing's supposed to go to that account. But
For those of you getting paychecks, don't forget that you weren't paying payroll taxes for the third of the year last year.
oh right,
Yeah.
that thing that didn't really help very many people.
Yeah.
that's going to be pissing off a lot of people when it comes tax return time and they realize that they owe taxes.
There's a lot of people who like unemployment. You have to pay taxes on, and they didn't have money taken out of their unemployment payments to cover that.
Yep.
They're hit with a huge tax bill.
I mean, it's going to be really scary whenever all this. I'm hoping I know we're going off Cub here, but since we started down this road, I really hope they go in and they do something, to help the relief to this, because it's going to hurt a lot of people.
To do what exactly, Justin?
Because of payroll taxes. I mean, people are going to file taxes and they're going to end up owing, and that's going to hurt people a lot more than it is to help them.
Florida man purchased and ate soiled underwear.
8?
8.
Like
Consumed.
Oh, God.
oh my god,
Why?
that's just so gross.
Oh.
So there's a better image of the Florida guy from the other story, the arsonist guy.
He still doesn't look like Vic Mignogna. He does
I did
look.
say drugged up.
You know who he looks like, people?
Alec Peters?
Sean Pantsless O'Halloran. I'm not kidding.
Hold
Look at it.
on. Is that the last one? Yep. Open link a new tab.
Oh, fun. Apparently, the guy who ate the underwear is also a pedophile.
Oh,
Because of course he is. Welcome to Florida.
And that taps me out.
yeah. I found all the ones that I haven't already covered.
Oh my God, that does look like Sean.
It does look like Sean.
Is someone going to post that in our chat?
I'm sorry, I still see a drugged up Vic.
No, he doesn't have Vic's hair, his chin.
And Lord Vic's eyes.
I don't know about the eyes, but yeah, no, that's that. He's got Sean O'Halloran's nose and mouth.
Sean, that's what you get for not being here, you ass.
That's what you get. All right. Oh, Anthony had a thing. Oh yeah, dude, we covered that last week.
Yeah, we covered that one since it broke last week.
Arrested and released on bail.
Yeah, the news this week was that he was released on bail. So,
Calling him the QAnon
Here's-
shaman or something.
Off topic, because I watched Saved by the Bell.
Oh God, you poor soul.
yeah.
Dustin
Dustin-
Diamond, who played Screech, has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Stage 4.
Oh.
Stomach? Was it stomach? I thought
I
it
was
was.
able to find it. Anyway, a lump in his throat. So it was a lump in his throat. That's how he found it. So we'll see. All right, I gotta go pop the seal.
You know,
Pop seal.
it's not entirely unusual for actors to get a lump in their throat.
That's what.
That's what she said.
And on that note, it's time to call it.
I think so. Thank you all for your Florida Man news of the week. And we'll see you next time. Play us out.
And-
Play us out, Keyboard Cat.
Alrighty.